Game number 8 for the Hyannis Harborhawks on the Cape Cod League season, only moments away here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Alongside Lyle Goldstein, I'm Chris Lucy. The Hyannis Harborhawks at 4-3 come into this game against the 6-2 Wareham Gatemen, a Western Conference showdown of the third-place Harborhawks at 4-3 with 8 points, and the red-hot Wareham Gatemen 6-2, 12 points. The hottest team on the Cape right now, Lyle, and after a tough game last night for Hyannis, this is really going to be a gut check for the Harborhawks.
Absolutely, and we talked about it last night on the post-game show, just too many free passes, letting too many guys on base. And with this Wareham Gateman lineup and so many guys just absolutely crushing the ball, both in their school seasons and so far this summer on the Cape, they're really going to have to be able to locate well and command the strike zone tonight.
Well, commanding the strike zone for the Gatemen to get things started here in the first inning is Connor Lunn, the pitcher out of USC, Southern California. He's going into his junior year. 22 appearances on the season, 8 saves for the Trojans, 30 and a third innings pitched, a 2-2 record, 32 strikeouts to only 9 walks. He'll face off against this lineup for the Harborhawks. In the first spot bet for the Harborhawks, the shortstop, number 8, Davis Wenzel. In the second spot, Trevor Hauber, the sophomore out of Arizona State University, DHing today. Eric Rivera in center field from Florida Atlantic University. In the 3 spot, Seth Gray batting cleanup, the third baseman from Wright State. Pedro Pages in the 5 spot, the catcher from Florida Atlantic University. Todd Lott in the 6th spot out of University of Louisiana Lafayette in left field. Griffin Day, the first baseman from Yale, in the 7th spot. Colin Hall out of Georgia Tech playing right field, batting 8th. And in the 9th spot from Samford, the second baseman today, Taylor Garris. And now Lund gets set to throw out the first pitch against Wenzel. Here it is. And it's a ball low and away. And this game is moving from Spillane Field in Wareham. Hyannis in their away blues, orange lettering, orange on the sleeves. And the 1-0. Check swing from Wenzel. They look down the first base line, and they say the Baylor shortstop holds up. 2-0 count. Lund to the set again. The righty winds and fires. Swing and a miss at the fastball over the outside corner. Brings the count to 2 balls and a strike. Michael Amditis catching for Lund today. As the righty from USC takes his time, comes to the windup and the pitch. Swing and a miss at another 2-1 fastball. Count now 2-2. Andrew Vaughn's playing first base. Oliver Dunn out of Utah is at second base. Austin Shenton at third. He's out of FIU. The shortstop, Ryan Kreider out of UCLA. And the 2-2 pitch from Lund. Swing and a miss at a changeup for strike 3. And the first batter for the Harborhawks here in the top of the first inning goes down by way of the K. Top 1 down with Trevor Hauber stepping up to the plate.
It looks like Lund's locating that fastball well early on. He got behind in that count 2-0, and it looks like it has some zip on it too. Wenzel a little bit behind of those first couple of pitches.
Hauber stepping up to the left-hand side of the dish. First pitch from the righty. Misses low and inside. Little off-speed pitch. 1-0 is the count. Pac-12 matchup here, but Hauber reports that he didn't get the chance to face off against Lund this season. So this is the first time these two have ever met each other, and they'll probably see each other a good deal next year. The 1-0. Called strike over the inner half, knee level. Evens the count at a ball and a strike with the breaking pitch. Lund, one of the premier closers in the Pac-12 last year, 4th in the conference with 8 saves. The 1-1. Check swing. No need to look down the third base line for that one. That's a called strike by the home plate umpire. Ball and a strike on the sophomore out of Arizona State. From left to right in the outfield, Lockhart, Denz, and Clementi for the Gatemen, as the 1-2 pitch is swung on and fouled off into the glove of the catcher, Amditis. So the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Miami product unable to hold on. Nobody on, infield and outfield playing straight away for the power-hitting Hauber. The 1-2. Cut on and roped behind home plate. That one getting over the backstop, bouncing off the school behind Spillane Field. Count remains 1-2. Overcast day here from Spillane Field. We're just over the third base line here. And Lund comes to the set once again. Righty winds and deals. Ball 2. Right over the heart of the plate, seemingly at chest level, but not catching the eye of the home plate umpire.
Doing a good job commanding that fastball so far. That one a little bit off the zone, and we've seen mostly fastballs up to this point, not a whole lot of breaking stuff.
Trevor Hopper batting .333 on the season, and the 2-2 is hacked on and sent straight on a line behind home plate, keeping him alive. 12 at-bats on the year, 4 hits, and a home run amongst them. So Hopper has some power. The outfielders still playing straight away, though. Maybe a little bit further back than they were for Wenzel, but not much. They're playing him honest. As Hyannis is looking to break across the first run, the 2-2. Hit on the ground, over to short. This one goes to Kreider, who throws over to first to get Hopper for the second out of the inning. 2 up, 2 down for Hyannis here in the top of the first. Still knotted at 0 with the gateman as Eric Rivera from Florida Atlantic steps up to the plate.
And Rivera still just with a couple of hits on the year. Sure, he's still high after that Sunday Game 1 walk-off single that he had against the Whitecaps.
Batting .167 on the year, 18 at-bats, 3 hits. Drove in 2 runs in that doubleheader on a 2-for-5 night overall. One of them, the walk-off single in that top half of the doubleheader. As the righty deals to the righty. Called strike on the fastball over on the outside corner. About knee level with that. 0-1 the count to the junior out of Florida Atlantic. Now Lund to the set again. The 0-1. Cut on and fisted foul behind home plate. That one just getting off of Rivera's hands. As he peers down the third base line, gets the sign from Coach Gassman. Head coach Chad Gassman down the third base line. And Bobby Malley over down the first base line. Malley, a 4-year player at UConn, the 0-2. Misses low and away. Count 1-2. Malley, a former Harbor Hawk as well, spent 3 years on the Hyannis side. The Barnstable native. Only makes sense. Here's the 1-2. This is low and away. Brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 away here in the top of the first. Hyannis looking to scrape across the first run of this game. The Wareham Gatemen and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks just underway here from Spillane Field in game number 8 of the season for Hyannis. The 2-2. Cut on and hit on the ground over to short again. It'll one-hop Kreider, who throws his way over to first and gets the speeding Rivera for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down for the Harbor Hawks. No one gets on. Nobody's left on base. And now we head to the bottom half of the first inning, where the Wareham Gatemen will send up the top of their order. We'll have that for you when we get back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Don't go anywhere. Hyannis coming to take the field in just a quick minute.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Chris Lucy.
Bottom of the first coming your way here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Jeremy Widens, Oliver Dunn, and Andrew Vaughn due up for the Gatemen in this inning. But otherwise, Lyle Lockhart is in the 4 spot, the left fielder out of Houston. In the 5 spot, Austin Shenton out of FIU. Drew Millis in the 6th spot out of Missouri State. Ryan Kreidler in the 7th spot from UCLA. Michael Amditis in the 8th spot from Miami. And in the 9th spot, Dominic Clementi from Michigan, rounding out the batting order for the Wareham Gatemen. And Lyle, they'll be against Mike Mockma out of Michigan State University. The junior had a stellar debut for the Harbor Hawks and really just commands the zone and does what you need to do to get outs in summer baseball.
Yeah, he had 4 strikeouts in 5 innings pitched against the Harwich Mariners. That was over at McKeon Park when the Harbor Hawks locked down their first win of the season. He gave up 6 hits in that appearance and now making start number 2 on this summer.
And up to the plate at the right side of the dish is the center fielder from UCLA. The righty deals a strike to the righty. And the Harbor Hawks are underway from the defensive side, still knotted at 0 with the Gatemen. The 0-1. Cut on and hit on a line foul. That one getting over the fence behind the third base dugout and out of play. Mockma ahead in the count, 0-2 to start off. The 6'7" righty peers into his catcher Pages and the 0-2. Just missing high and outside with another fastball. 1-2 now the count. Now the 1-2 again. Misses high and tight with another fastball. 2-ball and 2-strike count on the junior from UCLA. The 2-2. Cut on, hit on a line, fair ball down the left field line. That one will go for extra bases. Wyden's going to second. He'll stop up there standing. Ball relayed in by Lott from left field to Wenzel. And that is a leadoff double for the Gatemen. They have ducks on the pond with nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning.
He roped that fastball from Mike Mockma, getting one on the inner half of the plate and turning on it. Hard ground ball just past the diving backhand of Seth Gray, and it gets into left field, and with Iden's speed, making his way towards second with no trouble.
And that brings up Oliver Dunn, the junior out of Utah. Stands at the left-hand side of the plate with a runner on second base. The pitch. Missing low and inside. 1-0 the count. Runner on second once again. That's a leadoff double that got things started for the Gatemen. Infield now at double play depth. Outfield still straight away. The 1-0. Missing low and inside. 2-0 count.
Especially now with Dunn ahead of the count. Early on in the game, man on second, nobody out. It'll be interesting to see if they drop down the bunt here to move a man to third with less than 2 outs, try to draw first blood in this ball game.
And the 2-0 is cut on and skied off of a light post behind home plate. And it bounces right over to Seth Gray, who catches it on a fly, but they're not giving outs for that. So he'll have to give it away, and the count just advances to 2-1. And now Mockma to the set again. Dunn at the plate. Runner in scoring position. The 2-1. Ball low and away off the off-speed pitch. Count goes to 3-1. Dunn batting .158 on the Cape League season. 3 hits in 19 at-bats. Looking for number 4, and if he gets it out of the infield, could bring across the game's first run. Still scoreless in the bottom of the first inning. Mockma looks back the runner at second and deals, and the pitch is cut on and hit high in the air out towards center field. This chases Rivera to the wall. He camps under it, makes the play. Tagging up is the center fielder from UCLA. He just cruises into third base, standing up, and that's a sac fly for Oliver Dunn. Brings the runner over to third base and brings up Andrew Vaughn, the 2018 Pac-12 Player of the Year.
Well, I mentioned the bunt from Oliver Dunn, and he squared that one up, just missing a home run by about 15 feet. But that doing the job, getting a guy on third with less than 2 outs and this guy at the plate, Wareham Gatemen could not be in a better situation.
Vaughn batting .313 and 32 at-bats on the Cape League season so far. Takes strike 1 over the outer half of the plate. Little fastball right there from Mockma, going right after him. paying no mind to his stacked resume. It's a righty-righty matchup. A runner on third, the 0-1. Misses low and away with a little off-speed offering.
Makma dropping the breaking ball in there to Vaughn, just missing low. I'd be surprised to see him get anything straight and over the middle of the zone, to say the least, maybe any part of the strike zone on a fastball.
Batted .402 this year, and he takes ball 2 in the dirt. Makma trying to waste a pitch there. Brings the count to 2-1. Andrew Vaughn was a first-team All-American in 5 different baseball publications this year, Lyle. He was impressive, to say the least. The 2-1. Misses low and away. Makma avoiding the zone, but not getting any calls either. Brings the count to 3 balls and a strike. A pitch away from putting runners on the corners with the 4-hitter, Lyle Lockhart, due up. Wareham already in a position to strike in the bottom of the first. As the 3-1 pitch is a called strike over the inner half of the plate. The breaking ball catching the zone loads up the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away here in the bottom of the first inning. A runner on third. Mike Makma with a big pitch about to come from his right hand. Here goes. And it's clubbed on and sent high down the left field line. This one's getting out of play. And no chance for either Lyle Lott or the third baseman Gray to get over there. Lands in no man's land, and we'll do the 3-2 once again.
You know, it looked like early on in the count they were going to just pitch around Vaughn to not only put a guy on first and set up the double play, but just avoid letting him beat you, but now into a full count.
And Makma with the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The fastball completely throws Vaughn off, and the most feared hitter in the Pac-12, a 400 hitter over the duration of a regular season, 54 games for the Bears, goes down swinging for strike 3 and brings the Harbor Hawks 1 out away from stranding that runner in scoring position.
What an impressive at-bat and sequence from starter Mike Makma, starting him off with a few breaking balls, but going right after him, not shying away, and then blowing that fastball by him on 3-2.
Brings up Lyle Lockhart, left fielder for today. He stands in the left-handed batter's box, takes ball 1 low and away. 1-0 the count on the outfielder. .250 batting average on the season. Only 4 at-bats and 1 hit. So he's still getting his feet wet here in the Cape League. Hyannis and Wareham squaring off from Spillane Field, still knotted at 0. The 1-0. High and tight fastball. Count 2-0. 2 away here. Hyannis surrendered a leadoff double. That man now on third base after a sacrifice fly got him there. But the Harbor Hawks only an out away from just leaving him there and leaving this inning unscathed. The 2-0. Cut on, sent high in the air and foul down the third base line. It's well out of play. First strike of the at-bat for Makma. Lockhart, again a junior at Houston. Batted .297 in 229 at-bats for the Cougars this year. 47 walks, led the team, so he's patient. The 2-1. Check swing. They check down the third base line. He did not go around at the breaking pitch. That was well low and outside. So that brings the count to 3 balls and a strike. Makma, again, needs a strike here to avoid a runners on the corner situation. The 3-1. And it's ball 4, low and inside. Looked like it was just at the knees, but they do not give Makma the call. Lockhart heads over to first base with a free pass. And the Harbor Hawks are in a bit of a jam once again. 2 outs, runners on the corners. Austin Shenton, the third baseman out of Florida International, stepping up to the left-hand side of the plate. Shenton, one of the hottest hitters, not only on the Gateman, but on the Cape. A .522 batting average, 12 hits in 23 at-bats. And he takes a first pitch strike right down the heart of the plate. Makma wasting no time in selling the junior out of Florida International that he means business. Shenton taps the plate twice with his bat. And the 0-1. Cut on, hit on the ground, over to second base. It gets past Tyler Garrison into the outfield for a base hit. That scores the center fielder easily. And moving over to third base is Lockhart. And on the single from Shenton, the Gatemen jump ahead 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning.
And Austin Shenton just continuing to stay hot. That's his 13th hit on this young summer. Came into the game hitting .522, just staying with that pitch from Makma. A little bit of a C&I single between first and second, but hit it hard enough to get it past the glove side of the second baseman, and Garris easily plating Idens from third base. And the Gatemen draw first blood here in Wareham at Spillane Field.
Idens scores the first run of the game for the Gatemen, and that's a 1-0 edge for Wareham, as Mike Makma having a little bit of a rocky start to this one, but has a chance to still get out of it. He has 2 away, and Drew Millis coming up to the plate, the designated hitter out of Missouri State.
Designated hitter number 13, Drew Millis from Missouri State.
Millis hitting .273 right now, 11 at-bats on the season, 3 hits. Struck out 5 times. However, so Makma will be looking to go after him as well. Runners on the corners, 1-0 Wareham as it stands in the bottom of the first inning. First pitch, bouncer in front of home plate. 1-0 the count. Infield playing to try and get the out at the easiest base, so double play depth. Outfield pretty much straight away. Corner outfielders, however, playing more towards the gaps. The 1-0. Fastball misses high in sight. Count 2-0. Hyannis looking to get back to winning ways after dropping a game yesterday in tough fashion to the Catuit Kettleers. 10-4 the final score there. The 2-0. Called strike. Another fastball belt high right over the inner half of the plate. Makma sneaks one across the black, and it's a 2-1 count. The righty from Michigan State comes to the set. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. Changeup buckling the knees of the sophomore from Missouri State. And Makma a strike away from escaping the inning, only giving up 1 earned run. His catcher, Pages, gives him the sign. And the big righty comes to the set. The 2-2. Bouncer. It gets away from Pages briefly. He keeps it in front of him, but the runner, Shenton, advances over to second base from first. That'll be called most likely a wild pitch, as Pages was able to keep it in front of him. But it just bounced off his chest protector a little bit too far. Going over towards the third base side. Now there's runners on second and third, and a 3-2 count to Millis. He stands at the left-handed side of the plate. The righty Makma to the set. The pitch. High and tight, ball 4. So on the second full count of the inning, Drew Millis gets the second walk in a full count and brings up Ryan Kreidler out of UCLA, the 7-hitter, with a bases-loaded situation on his hands. 2 down. Wareham already up 1-0 here in the bottom of the first, and with a golden opportunity to extend their lead over Hyannis. It's a righty-on-righty matchup. Makma to the set. The first pitch. Misses low and away. Off-speed offering, missing the zone, and that's a 1-0 count.
Time's called. Chad Gassman making his way out to the mound. This has been a tough first inning for Mike Makma. Last start, only walked 2 guys. He's already totaled that amount here in the first inning with 2 free passes to the Wareham Gatemen. Just like we talked about in the pregame show, the key was going to be locating the zone, and Mike Makma a little bit all over the place here in this first inning against a loaded Wareham lineup.
Absolutely, and you have to imagine it's getting into his head a little bit because he's not against a world beater at the plate necessarily. Kreidler only batted .222 in his season with the Bruins out at UCLA. Struck out 49 times as well. So if you read your scouting report, this is someone you can go after.
Absolutely, and this is somebody you've got to retire because the next 2 guys in the lineup, you've got Mdidis, who is an RBI machine, had a pretty big redshirt freshman year down at Miami, and then Dominic Clementi, who led Michigan in average as well as on base, if I'm not mistaken. The Michigan right fielder was a first-team all-conference, rounding out the 9 hole. So if that doesn't speak volumes to how loaded 1 through 9 this Wareham lineup is, then I don't know what does. But like you mentioned, Ryan Kreidler may be a small weak spot in this Gateman lineup. So an opportunity at hand for Mike Machma.
Chad Gassman has just gotten off the field, the Hyannis Harborhawks manager, having a word with his infielders and his big right-hander. And he leaves the field, and Machma again with the situation on his hand. A 1-0 count to Kreidler, but the base is jammed, and Wareham already out front 1-0. And now Gassman comes out again. The head coach having a word with the home plate umpire, pointing to his hand, as now Coach Gassman is calling for a trainer to have a word with Machma, the home plate umpire. Still giving Gassman a bit of a hard time, and Gassman jawing with him still. Standing up for his players, of course, trying to make sure Machma can get some attention for his hand.
A trainer out there right now, as well as the home plate umpire. It's a little bit of a small conference going on at the mound.
Yep, and this is a big matchup, Lyle. Anything that you realistically just need to make sure you cover your bases in a matchup like this, because Wareham's the hottest team in the Cape with 12 points right now. It's a bases-loaded situation, and if Hyannis is able to snatch a win from the Gatemen, that's a huge W for Hyannis, because that will launch them possibly into a tie with Cotuit if the Kettleers don't win tonight. And then we'll just give Hyannis a bunch of confidence moving forward, as now the trainers and Gassman both leave the field. Machma good to continue with this batter in Kreidler. 1-0 count. Here's the pitch. Cut on, fisted high in the air. Pedro Pages jumps up from behind home plate, but that ball well out of play down the first base line in the stands. 1-1 now, the count from the big righty out of Michigan State.
And getting out of it here is key, because often this season, the big innings what's hurt Hyannis. We saw it from Nick McDonald against both Cotuit and Falmouth. We saw it from Travis Marr in both the first and second inning against Chatham. So to minimize damage here would be huge.
The 1-1. Cut on and hit on a line out to the gap in right center field. This one scores Lockhart, moving around third and scoring Shenton, and that is an RBI double for Ryan Kreidler, who goes into second base standing up. 2 runners score, and check that, a bases clearing double for Lockhart, and this game is wide open already here in Wareham. 4-0 Gatemen with 2 down in the bottom of the first inning.
And we're seeing that offense early. Ryan Kreidler wasting no time after that mound meeting from Machma, drilling that pitch into the gap in left center field. Both Rivera and Hall going after it, neither of them quite able to get there, rolling all the way to the wall. And the runner in Millis, with his speed from first, scored easily with no play. And it looks like there's going to be another mound visit for Mike Machma.
Another trainer going in to check out his right arm right now. Hyannis just falling way behind the 8 ball now, as Machma steps off the mound, and it looks like that will be it for Machma. And as Coach Gassman has a word with the home plate umpire, he has enough and ejects the Hyannis manager. That was a definite ejection. The home plate umpire just throwing his finger in the air at Gassman, who now is continuing to have words with the home plate umpire, as he's now escorted off the field by the first base umpire. We'll have a quick pause here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network as Coach Gassman brings in another arm from the bullpen to keep this inning moving. 4-0 Wareham as it stands here in the bottom of the first inning. Be sure to stick around. You're listening to the Hyannis Harborhawks on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Chris Lucy.
New pitcher on for the Harbor Hawks. He deals a first pitch strike to Michael Amditis out of Miami. It's Zach Cohn from Minnesota, or Central Michigan, excuse me. 1 inning, 2 innings, 2 1/3 innings pitched, 1 game on the Cape League season. Has yet to give up an earned run. It's a righty-righty matchup. Amditis out of Miami. And the pitch. Low and away. 2-0 the count. 4-0 Wareham as it stands here in the bottom of the first inning. It's been an eventful one. Not really in any good way for the Harbor Hawks, as 4 runs have come to the plate. And the Harbor Hawks manager was ejected. The 2-0. Misses low and away with the fastball. 3-0 count. Runner on second base. That's Ryan Kreidler. He got on there with a 3 RBI double and stands there now with a hefty lead. And Zach Cohn needs a strike on the 3-0 pitch. Gets it with a fastball over the heart of the plate. 3-1 the count. Outfield at double play depth, looking to try and get a play that could end the inning on either a force set, or not a force, but get the runner via tag, or just get the out at first, as the 3-1 pours over the outer half for a strike. 3-2 count. And now Cohn in a big situation as the ball in his hands. A 3-2 count. 2 down. Hyannis trying to get out of a 4-run bottom of the first. The payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. A huge strikeout for Cohn and for the Harbor Hawks after 4 innings. 3 hits and 4 runs coming across the plate. The Harbor Hawks are able to get out of a tempestuous first and head to the top of the second inning, where Seth Gray, Pedro Pages, and Todd Lott are due up for Hyannis. Stick around. You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
Seth Gray out of Wright State University leading things off for the Harbor Hawks here in the top of the second, followed by Pedro Pages and Todd Lott. They'll be facing off against a familiar face, Connor Lunn, out for inning number 2 of work. The righty from USC deals a ball 1 high and outside to Seth Gray, standing in the left-handed batter's box. The windup and the 1-0. Cut on and hit on the ground right in front of home plate. It floats over the pitcher, and that'll be an infield hit for Gray as Kreidler's unable to get there inside. The shortstop gobbled it up, but thought better of a throw, and that is a leadoff single for Seth Gray to start off the top of the second inning.
That's about as good of an infield single as you can place if you're a hitter. Seth Gray sending a high chopper just over the mound, out of the reach of the pitcher in Lunn, and the shortstop Kreidler playing back on the infield, almost on the outfield grass, having to come way in. Only chance he would have had was on a barehanded play to first and a spectacular throw, but unable to do so.
And now Pedro Pages at the right-hand side of the plate. Cuts on the 0 pitch and sends it high in the air down the first base line. This one's bringing Dunn and Vaughn converging on it, but the first and second baseman can't get there. Falls just in front of the fence down the right field line. 0-1 now the count on today's catcher out of Florida Atlantic University. Seth Gray stands on first with his 5th hit of the season. Hyannis down 4-0 here in the top of the second after an eventful first inning, to say the least. One that saw 4 runs come to pass, and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks manager get tossed. And the 0-1 pitch. And the 0-1 pitch is cut on and roped foul down the right field line once again. 0-2 now the count on Pages. Pedro, a .222 hitter on the season here in the Cape. 4 hits in 18 at-bats. Has to defend the plate with a runner on first, nobody down. In the top of the second, Lunn to the set. The righty deals to the righty. A ball high and outside. Little bit of an off-speed offering. 1-2 now the count. Lunn, your classic 3-pitch guy from what we've seen so far. Fastball, breaking pitch, and a changeup. The 1-2. There's the changeup. Loops high and inside for ball 2. One of the premier closers in the Pac-12, 4th in the conference with 8 saves. The 2-2. Cut on and sent foul down the first base line. That one gets out of play in a hurry. Pedro Pages fighting to stay alive here. 2-2 the count. Lunn with a 2.97 ERA playing for the Trojans. So some more elite talent here out on the Cape. And now the 2-2. Cut on and hit on the ground right over to first. Backhanded by Vaughn, who throws to second for 1. Back on to first from Kreidler, and that is a double play. Call that one 3-6-3. And just like that, Hyannis is down to its last out of the inning.
Well, a ground ball right to the backhand at first of Andrew Vaughn, who, for as coveted as he is as a hitter, is also a spectacular fielder. Fielding percentage at .992 this season, and makes an easy throw over to second, an inside throw as he called to Ryan Kreidler, as the first baseman should, and catches the ball back on the bag for the double play.
And the 2018 Pac-12 Player of the Year, showing why he's earned that in every possible place he can, as Todd Lott out of the University of Louisiana Lafayette takes ball 1 high and outside, standing at the right-hand side of the plate, and now the righty from USC deals the 1-0. Change up for a strike right over the heart of the plate, chest level. 1-1 now, the count on Lott. Batting 176 in 17 at-bats for the Harbor Hawks so far this summer. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss at another changeup. 1-2 the count. Lott buckled on that off-speed offering. 2 RBI on the season for Lott and a home run. Looking to harness some of that power and shoot some life into the Harbor Hawks. The 1-2. Called strike 3. He goes down looking at a fastball over the outside corner, and that brings the Harbor Hawks inning to a close. Started promising enough with a leadoff single, but the 3-6-3 double play that Pedro Pageson hit into killed off that promise, and then Todd Lott goes down looking for the final out of the top of the second inning. 1 hit, nobody left on base. And now to the bottom of the second we go. Dominic Clemente, Jeremy Idens, and Oliver Dunn due up for the Gatemen when we return here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Chris Lucy.
To the bottom of the second we go here at Spillane Field. Hyannis trail the Gatemen 4-0 out here in Wareham. Bottom of the order due up for the Gatemen in Dominic Clemente. The right fielder out of Michigan stands at the left-hand side of the plate against Brett Schulz, out for his second inning of work. The pitch. High inside fastball from the righty. 1-0 the count. Schulz coming in relief of Mike Mockma, who had to leave after pitching only 2/3 of an inning to start this ball game. The 1-0. Called strike over the inner half, right at knee level. Changeup darting across the zone. 1-1 the count. Final line on Mockma: 4 earned runs on 3 walks and 3 hits in those 2/3 of an inning. Here's the 1-1. Cut on and missed. Another changeup. 1-2 the count. And this big and the pitcher out of the MAC conference. A strike away from out number 1. Here's the 1-2. High and outside. 2-2 the count. The Michigan matchup at the very least. You have the Wolverine and the Chippewa going at it. The Chippewa on the mound deals the 2-2. And the Wolverine bites for strike 3. Swings around and completely whiffs at the off-speed offering. 1 away here in the bottom of the second inning.
That was a nice sweeping breaking ball from Zach Cohn on that 2-strike offering after starting him off. A couple of fastballs, saw a healthy dose of straight stuff, and then drops in that breaking ball and gets his second strikeout of the evening.
Jeremy Idens at the plate, 1 for 1 with a double. He's at the right-hand side, and the righty Cohn deals a strike. Fastball over the outer half. 0-1 the count, 4-0 as it stands right now. Wareham on top of Hyannis. Idens got the rally started in the bottom of the first with a leadoff double. As the 0-1, he checks his swing, and it's called strike. He went around. 0-2 the count, and Cohn working quickly to try and avoid another rush of runs for the Gatemen. They put up 4 in the bottom of the first. Now the 0-2. Bouncer in the dirt, trying to waste one. Brings the count to a ball and a strike. Hyannis plays his college ball out at UCLA. Hit 350 for the Bruins as the 1-2 is cut on and sent down the third base line. It's a tough play for Gray. He charges in on the grass, throws across the diamond to Griffin Day for out number 2 here in the bottom of the second inning. A nifty play from the third baseman out of Wright State.
Seth Gray, like you said, played that ball just about perfectly, coming in, fielding it glove side and on an in-between hop too, so not the friendliest of bounces, but then makes a strong throw on the run to Griffin Day at first, who manages to keep his foot on the bag, and Cone gets out number 2.
And it's a first pitch ball he deals to Oliver Dunn, the junior out of Utah. As he had to record an official plate appearance on the day, he had a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the first. That sac fly advanced Lyle Lockhart to third. He eventually scored as the 2-0 is low and away. The 1-0 is low and away for 2-0. Seth Gray, before today, had never played on an infield quite like what they have out here at Spillane Field. The 2-0. Cut on and check. That's just fouled off the tip and right off of Pedro Page's glove. He has to shake his hand off a little bit. 2-1 the count. It's a gray stone infield. So whereas you see red clay throughout the rest of the Cape, the infield here is gray and consisted mainly of pebbles, the 2-1. Called strike over the outer half of the plate. Fastball, 2-2, and Cone is a strike away from facing the minimum amount of batters here in the bottom of the second inning. Hyannis down 4-0. The 2-2. Cut on in on the hands. It goes right down the left field line and bounces foul. 2-2 the count. Although Gray had never seen an infield like this, Lyle, he said after taking a couple of grounders, just as he does every day during batting practice, he really didn't pay too much mind to it, except the fact that he knew he'd have to charge in because it's a very slow infield. And you saw that paying off there. He charged in. And now the 2-2 from Cone. Hit on the ground right back to Gray. He just has to watch that one come to his forehand side. Throws across the diamond after a strange hop and gets the final out of the inning. So 1, 2, 3 go the Gatemen after 3 hits and 4 earned runs on the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the first. And now Hyannis comes up for the top of the third inning. Griffin Day, Colin Hall, and Taylor Garris due up the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Harbor Hawks when we get back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Don't go anywhere. Hyannis trails 4-0, but is looking to scrape a run across.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's Voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Chris Lucy.
4-0 Gatemen as the Harbor Hawks come up for the top of the third inning. Griffin Day, Colin Hall, and Taylor Garris due up. And the senior out of Yale steps up to the right-handed batter's box against Connor Lunn out for inning number 3. The righty from USC comes to the set and deals to the Ivy League product. Change up for a strike over the outside corner. 0-1 the count. That ball starting at Day's chest and buckling around his knees. A lot of body to that pitch. The 0-1. Fastball cut on and just missed. He nips on it, sends it foul behind home. 0-2 now the count on Day. Griffin, today's first baseman for the Harbor Hawks. Batting .133 on the season, 15 at-bats, 2 hits. And the 0-2 bounces in the dirt. 1-2 now the count on Day.
Griffin hasn't gotten off to the hottest start so far in this Cape League summer, but like we've seen it day in and day out in batting practice, he can absolutely torch the baseball. And we saw it through this season at Yale, 306 with 10 long balls. He's got it in him. Just looking to turn things around a little bit.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Breaking pitch gets Day for out number 1 here in the top of the 3rd inning. And now Colin Hall, his roommate of sorts, living with the same host family this year, steps up to the left-hand side of the plate against the righty out of USC. Now, Lyle, a lot of relationships start out on the Cape, as many have seen in the acclaimed Cape League flick Summer Ball. The first pitch cut on and sent foul behind home. 0-1 the count. And the relationship between Day and Hall isn't quite like the one in Summer Ball, of course, but the two have become fast friends out here on the island. The 0-1. Cut on and nipped foul, just getting off the glove of the catcher Amditis. 0-2 count now on the sophomore out of Georgia Tech.
And that's just something about the Cape League. It's not just roommates, but these teammates in general spend so much time together between team meals, all the games.
And the 0-2 pitch is in the dirt for ball 1.
I'd say it's hard not to make some lifelong friends. It's being around these guys so much. And that's what you see in school ball too, because players spend so much time around each other. But with so much of the extracurriculars out here as well, it gives them a lot of time to really get to know each other.
And the 1-2 is cut on and nipped foul again behind home plate. Count remains 1-2. And it's just like you mentioned, they share a basement room in the basement of their host family's house. And, you know, you figure they have one TV and they're going to argue about something. But no, they got 2 TVs. These guys are living the life of Riley, and they get to just pal around and play the game they love every day. The 1-2. Big looping breaking ball way out of the zone and high. 2-2 the count. So when conditions are good and you have people around you of like mind, hard not to make great friends. And Day and Hall have hit head off, to say the least. The 2-2. Cut on and sent off the end of the bat again behind home plate. The freshman just finished his freshman year, actually, out of Georgia Tech. Now considered a sophomore by NCAA regulations. Is fighting to keep this count alive. Batting .214 on the Cape League season, 14 at bats, 3 hits. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Straight fastball right there from Lund, and the heater fools Colin Hall for out number 2. Both batters here in the top of the 3rd inning going down by way of the K as the Gatemen are rolling ahead 3-0. 4-0, excuse me. Taylor Garris now up to the plate. He's at the right-hand side. And the righty kicks and fires. High and tight for ball 1.
Lund's just been blowing fastballs by the Hyannis order thus far. Already 4 strikeouts on the night. Looking like from the naked eye, it's sitting in about somewhere in the mid-90s, but we saw him in the back end of the USC bullpen this year notch 8 saves. Very effective.
And the 1-0 is in the dirt for ball 2. 2-0 now the count. Garris in 9 at-bats on the Cape season. 3 hits, batting .333. The infielder out of Sanford, making good on his opportunity out here in Hyannis so far. The 2-0 is clubbed on, in on the hands, and just sent foul behind home. Light contact there. 2-1 now the count on Garris. '17 Collegiate Baseball All-American. The 2-1. Called strike. Fastball over the outer half of the plate. Now 2-2 is the count. Infield playing straight away. There's 2 down here in the top of the 3rd inning. The 2-2. Cut on and missed. Strike 3. Fastball low and away. Gets Garris swinging, and 3 go up and 3 go down. Everybody by way of the K. No hits. Nobody left on base. As now the Harbor Hawks head into the bottom of the 3rd inning. Andrew Vaughn, Lyle Lockhart, and Austin Shenton due up for the Wareham Gatemen. When we get back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network, do not go anywhere.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Chris Lucy.
Zach Cohn out for his third inning of work. The Central Michigan Chippewa has yet to allow an earned run, and he's squaring off against Andrew Vaughn, 2018 Pac-12 Player of the Year. And the righty deals a first pitch ball to the righty out of Cal Berkeley. Want to know the count? Cohn to the set again. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike two. Vaughn 0 for 1 on the day. Had a strikeout in the bottom of the first. Oddly enough, that was the inning where pretty much everyone was feasting but him, which is unusual. The 1-1. Cut on and miss. Strike two. Off nights really aren't his forte, as he hit 400 for the Bears this year, and you don't hit 400 really ever having an off night. Now Cohn sets the 1-2. Here it comes. Cut on and slapped high and foul down the right field line. First baseman Griffin Day giving chase, but bounces off a roof down the first base line and out of play. Little shed over there where they keep instruments necessary to keep the field in tip-top shape down here at Spillane. 4-0 Gateman over the Harbor Hawks as it stands here in the bottom of the third. And Gray to the set again. Cohn to the set again, excuse me. And the 1-2 is cut on, sent high and foul. Pretty much same place, except a little bit deeper down the right field line. And they'll do the 1-2 again. Vaughn, as I mentioned, Pac-12 Player of the Year. He's a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award, which has yet to be awarded. The 1-2. Ball high and outside. Breaking pitch misses the zone and counts 2-2. Lights are starting to come on here at Spillane Field. Temperature starting to cool as well. Should get around the mid-60s tonight. Still pretty good weather for baseball. The 2-2. Called strike three on the fastball. Vaughn looks up in dismay at the call. However, he's walking his way back to the Gateman dugout, and there's one away here in the bottom of the third. Lyle Lockhart stepping up to the plate now, tonight's left fielder for the Gateman. Yet to record an official plate appearance, he walked and scored in the bottom of the first. A 4-run juggernaut for the Gateman. He stands at the left side of the plate. No one on, one man down, and the pitch. Called strike, fastball right over the heart of the dish at chest level. 0-1 the count on Lockhart. Going to the set again. And the pitch. The 0-1 misses high and outside. Another fastball. Count 1-1. Lockhart was second team all-conference in the American Athletic Conference. The 1-1. Misses low and away again. Count now 2-1 on a little changeup from Cohn. Not quite catching the eye of the home plate umpire. Lockhart, part of a Houston Cougars program that had its second consecutive, or just this year had a regular season American Conference title. 3-1 now the count on Lockhart. Wareham out front 4-0 here in the bottom of the third inning, trying to extend a hefty lead on Hyannis. The 3-1. Ball 4. Lockhart looking all the way at that one, and now he walks down to first base. Austin Shenton now stepping up. 1 for 1 on the day. He had an RBI single in the bottom of the first inning. A hit that really opened up the floodgates for the Gatemen, where they scored 4 runs and showed Hyannis right off the bat why they are the hottest team in the Cape right now. 6-2 record, best in the league, 12 points, tops in the league as well. As the righty Cone deals a first pitch strike to Shenton, junior out of Florida International University. Shenton's already proven to be a bit of a character, as the Gateman photographer can attest to. The 0-1. Cut on and golfed foul behind home. 0-2 now the count. The infielder already has developed a reputation for himself as every once in a while when the photographer's not looking, or maybe just turns a blind eye, depending on how he's thinking of things, just takes the camera and starts snapping pictures himself. He is a photographer in his off time. Now the 0-2 to Shenton. Ball 1. That one missing at chest level, just off the plate. Now Cone comes to the set. Runner taking the lead off of first base. And the 1-2. Missing low and away. Lockhart, taking about a 3-step lead, retreats to the base between pitches as Cone's off the rubber now. Infield at double play depth. Outfield shading towards the gaps. Center fielder Rivera playing deep, about 5 steps away from the wall. Snap throw over to first base. No tag applied to Lockhart. He slides in well safe. Griffin Day handles the throw, throws it back to Cone. 1 down here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hyannis trailing 4-0 against the Gatemen. And now here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3 at the fastball. Cone draws a wave for out number 2 in the bottom of the 3rd. Brings up Drew Millis, who reached with a walk in his first plate appearance. Plays his college baseball at Missouri State. He stands at the left-hand side of the plate. 2 men down in the bottom of the 3rd inning. A runner on first base. And Hyannis able to get out of this inning if they can draw anything on the ground or anything reasonable within the air. The righty deals to the lefty, a strike over the heart of the plate. Breaking pitch. Not a lot of movement on it, but enough to get in the zone and stay there. 0-1 now the count. The righty from Central Michigan, trying to calm down the Harbor Hawks after a rocky first inning. He's done pretty well in that, as a fastball on an 0-1 count is high in sight. Ball 1. And Cone has to step off. Pitcher taking his time. He's used to temperatures like this. It's starting to dip into the low 70s, mid 60s, as the 1-1 pitch pours over the strike zone at belt level. Changeup, 1-2 count now. Grew up in Woodhaven, Michigan. So out in Michigan, it can get very, very chilly. And he plays his college baseball out there, so no use to the lower temperatures that you can see early on in the Cape season. The 1-2. Cut on and chopped foul down the 3rd base line. That one kicks up a tuft of gray dirt as it goes off the 3rd base line, but foul. Hyannis on the road here in Spillane Field, wearing their away blues with orange lettering and orange sleeves. Wareham in their home whites, red lettering, red trim around the lettering. And black batting helmets with a red W. The 1-2. Fastball high and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 away here in the bottom of the 3rd. 4-0 lead for the Gatemen. Lyle Lockhart stands on first, worked a walk. He's sandwiched between 2 strikeouts, 1 to lead off the inning from Vaughn and 1 from Shenton. Snap throw back over to first, a low one from Cone, but Day able to hold on. No tag applied to Lockhart. Tonight's left fielder staying put on first base now. And he strides off to take a 1.5-step lead. twitching as Cone comes to the set and deals the 2-2, which is hacked on and served foul once again.
You can keep that foul ball courtesy of attorney Glenn Harrington and his daughter.
Wareham has been the hottest team on the Cape. They started the season on a 4-game win streak, and they have yet to allow more than 5 runs in a game. The man who struck out before Millis, Shenton, leading the Cape in batting average in .522. He had a single in his first at-bat. Now the 2-2. Cut on and hit on the ground right to Seth Gray at 30. Forehands it, throws across the diamond, and gets the out and the final one of the bottom of the third. So 1 man left on base, but no hits. And now Hyannis goes to the top of the 4th inning. Top of the order due up for the Hyannis Harborhawks as well. Davis Wenzel, Trevor Hauver, and Eric Rivera to come to the plate when we get back here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Do not go anywhere.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harborhawks on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Chris Lucy.
Davis Wenzel striding up to the right-hand side of the plate against Connor Lunn, out for inning number 4. His Gateman lead 4-0. Wenzel 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout. And the righty-righty matchup starts off with a first pitch strike on the changeup outside corner, belt level. 0-1 the count on Wenzel. Today's shortstop playing his college ball at Baylor. And the 0-1 is cut on and crushed to dead center field. Idens, the center fielder, steps over once towards the right field gap, makes the play, and Wenzel goes down in the top of the 4th.
Designated hitter number 17, Trevor Hauver from Arizona State.
Now Trevor Hauver steps up. Going into his sophomore year at ASU, was drafted in his senior year of high school. Went in the 37th round to the Kansas City Royals. He steps up to the left-hand side of the plate against the fellow Pac-12 righty. The pitch. Missing low and just a bit inside. 1-0 with the fastball. Hauver, 227 batting average in his freshman season with the Sun Devils. Checks his swing at the 1-0 and sends it foul behind home plate. 0-1 the count, but he showed off prodigious power in the Cape already. Hit a home run in Lowell Park against the Cotuit Cavaliers in a Game 1 Patriot Series win for Hyannis. Here's the 1-1. Cut on and hit on a rope up to the gap. The backhand stab from the second baseman done in the hole. He's able to get up and throw across his body to get Trevor Hauver for out number 2 in the top of the 4th inning. An exceptional play from Dunn, coming out of nowhere seemingly to make the play. And just like that, 2 down in the top of the 4th, and Eric Rivera stepping up. He's at the right-hand side of the plate. And the righty Lunn sets and deals. A pitch that's hacked on, and another diving snare on the fly from Dunn up the middle. The second baseman doing it all for the Gatemen here in the top of the 4th inning, and sending Hyannis down 1-2-3. Tip of the cap to the middle infielder, and now Hyannis has to face the bottom of the Wareham Gatemen order when we get back here for the bottom of the 4th on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. Ryan Kreidler, Michael Amditis, and Dominic Clementi due up when we return on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Chris Lucy.
To the bottom of the fourth we go here from Spillane Field, 4-0 Wareham, as the Harbor Hawks face the bottom of the Gateman order. Ryan Kreidler, Michael Amditis, and Dominic Clementi due up. And here comes the shortstop out of UCLA to the right-handed batter's box. He's 1 for 1 on the day. The big bopper, a 3 RBI double in the bottom of the first that plated 3 of the 4 Gateman runs that have Wareham sitting pretty. The first pitch. High in sight fastball. 1-0 is the count. Going to the set again. The 1-0. High and tight fastball once again, 2-0 the count. Cohn's out here for essentially his 4th inning of work, considering the fact that he had to come in and get the final out of the first inning. And he's really helped the Harbor Hawks out here as the 2-0 pours over the heart of the plate for a strike with the fastball. 2-1 the count.
He's been really effective coming in with 2 outs in the first, obviously having to take his time to warm up. The rule with injuries to pitchers is the reliever gets as much time as he wants to warm, but Cohn blowing fastballs by guys here in the early going of his outing.
Just blew a fastball past Ryan Kreidler, who's able to barely get his bat on it to stay alive. 2-2 the count. And it helps the Harbor Hawks a great deal because they were expecting Mike Mockma to go a while. He had to leave early in this game, unfortunately, as he walked off with the trainer. But Cohn coming in clutch as the 2-2 is cut on and fouled into the Harbor Hawks dugout. Look out. Startled a couple of ball players right there, but Alec Trela at the top step of the dugout, looking at the ball go by like it was nothing.
And when Mike Mockma came out of the game, going back to that for a second, before head coach Chad Gassman got ejected, you heard the home plate umpire say, who are you going to bring in? And he said, I don't know yet. I don't know if Cohn was really prepared to even pitch in this game, but if not, he's doing a tremendous job so far.
The 2-2 hit on the ground over to short, and Davis Wenzel doesn't even dive for it. It dribbles out into left field for a base hit. So Ryan Kreidler leads things off with a single. He's 2 for 2 on the day. The UCLA shortstop having himself a day early on here for the Gatemen. 2 hits, and he leads off the bottom of the fourth with a knock and brings up Michael Amditis from Miami. Tonight's catcher 0 for 1 with a strikeout that ended that massive inning, which saw pretty much all the action happen. 4 runs and also an ejection. And the pitch. Cut on and sent foul way behind home plate, high in the air. 0-1 the count to the catcher from Miami. He stands at the right-hand side of the plate. Runner on first base is Kreidler. Led off this inning with a single. Nobody down. Hyannis down 4-0 to Wareham in the bottom of the 4th inning. The 0-1 almost hits Amditis. He has to jump out of the way. Fastball coming up to his chin. 1-1 the count. Amditis at the particularly favorable build for a catcher, 5'11", 195. Takes another pitch inside for ball 2. Breaking ball, not coming off the hand of Cohn as he'd hoped. Didn't really get enough bite on it to stay away from the right-handed batter. Almost knocked him again. And now the count's 2-1. And the 2-1. And that misses for ball 3, high and tight. And now out comes Pages to have a word with his right-hander.
Cohn in this at bat losing control of his fastball a little bit. Missed inside with a couple, missing his spot. and then missing up in the zone. Now, Cone's not missing up in the zone consistently, but when you start to see that trend with a pitcher of missing high with your fastball, it often shows a sign of fatigue, meaning you're getting tired, as we look down the left field line with a couple of Harbor Hawks getting loose in the pen.
Ray Korn out to the mound now to have a word with the righty out of Central Michigan, and Amditas at the plate. No one to scoff at. He was a 37th round pick by Cleveland in 2016. Must have been hard to turn the Indians down in 2016 as they won the pennant that year. Came up short in 7 games in the World Series. And Amditas has the potential to be Miami's starting catcher, but every season that he's started as their catcher, he's gone down with injuries. He broke his leg in his true freshman year, and then he had a bone bruise in his hand in his redshirt freshman year. It's just injuries have really plagued him. As here comes the 3-1. High and tight, ball 4. Cone missing with the fastball, almost hitting the catcher once again, and that puts runners on first and second, nobody down, and control starting to ebb away from the righty out of Central Michigan.
It's the second walk he's issued so far here tonight, but in that at-bat, definitely the least amount of control we've seen out of him thus far, not even being able to command his fastball. He missed with that one outside after missing inside with a couple, high with another. He's got to buckle down a little bit and find the zone.
First pitch to Clemente. Misses low and away on the fastball. 1-0 the count. Clemente struck out swinging in his first confrontation with Cone, but starts that one off with a ball. Runners are on first and second. Nobody taking leads yet. Nobody down in the bottom of the 4th. Wareham out front 4-0 already with another opportunity to build on what has already been a tremendous game. And the 1-0 is a changeup, swung on and missed. 1-1 now the count. Cone trying to just battle through some adversity here. Taking his time. He looks back at Davis Wenzel, his shortstop, making sure they have the right play in order in case of a bunt. Wenzel looks back again, and here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss, double steal, throw down to second. Wenzel not covering in time as the throw goes to him, but he's in no position to tag the runner Amditas. Kreidler advances to third base, and Hyannis now in some serious trouble. Nobody down, runners on second and third, down 4-0, and Zach Cone struggling to keep himself in the strike zone, and the Harbor Hawks just can't warm up those arms in the bullpen fast enough.
I don't think Hyannis was expecting anything like that. Neither Kreidler or Amditas are big base stealing guys, but both taking off, getting great jumps.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So in his second at-bat against Cone, Clemente goes down swinging once again, and that's the first out of the inning. A big sigh of relief for the Harbor Hawks and for Zach Cone. Runner still on second and third, however, and Jeremy Edens, who led off this game with a double, back at the plate. He's 1 for 2 on the day, standing at the right-hand side. Cones to the set. Exhales and deals. Pitches cut on, nubbed, foul down the right field line. Lights starting to come on here at Spillane Field. Hyannis and Wareham squaring off in game number 8 for the Harbor Hawks on the CCBL season. Hyannis at 4-3, Wareham at a scorching 6-2. Here's the 0-1. Called strike over the inner half on the fastball. 0-2 the count, and Cone, after putting the first 2 runners of this inning on by a single and a walk, gets a strikeout in his previous at-bat, and now is up 0-2 in the count on the junior out of UCLA. Righty squares up the righty at the plate and fires. Fastball, eye level. 1-2 the count. This would be a huge bounce back for Cone if he's able to get a strikeout or an out of any kind without surrendering a run here. Would serve the Harbor Hawks well, too. They're already down 4-0. Don't want to fall further behind. And the 1-2. Bouncer in the dirt gets away from Pedro Pages, but he's able to keep it in front of him. Cone charges in from the mound, but Pages there in plenty of time. Both runners staying put. And the 2-2 count now as Cone steps up to the rubber and just looks back at the runner at second base. steps over the rubber to the back of the mound and now comes back to the top of the hill. Infield at double play depth. Outfield pretty much straight away. I haven't seen too many defensive wrinkles from Ron Polk and the Harbor Hawks today. The 2-2. Bouncer in the dirt. Page just keeps it in front of him, but the runner from third comes in to score. And that is a 5-0 deficit for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the fourth inning as Millis comes around to score or Kreidler comes around to score, and Amditis moves his way over to third base. Well, Cone with a 3-2 count now on Edens.
Well, Cone looked like he was really starting to battle his way back into the inning. He got the strikeout against the right fielder in Clemente, has 2 strikes here on the leadoff man in Idens, but a couple of spiked balls in the dirt, that one getting away from Pages. And now, like you said, Chris, Gateman up 5-0.
Here comes the payoff pitch. Cut on and roped out into center field. This one dinks in front of Rivera for a base hit. Amditis will score easily from third, stopping at first. Edens with another single or another hit. He had a double in his first at-bat, make him 2 for 3 on the day. An RBI single here in the bottom of the fourth puts Wareham out front 6-0 here at Spillane Field.
Jeremy Idens having himself a day, doubled and scored in the first, now an RBI single here in the fourth, just drilling that ball out into right center field over the head of the second baseman, Garris.
Oliver Dunn at the left-hand side of the plate now takes strike one. Fastball just at his knees. 0-1 the count to the junior from Utah. 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly. Here's the 0-1. Cut on, chopped foul. That one way behind home plate. Count 0-2. And Cone on the verge of another big strike if he can get this one over the plate and keep it away from the bat of Dunn. Only 1 down, already 2 runs on the board for the Gatemen in this inning alone. They lead 6-0 as it stands in the bottom of the fourth. The 0-2. Another bouncer. Pages keeps that one in front of him as well with his chest protector. Count now 1-2 as Cone has thrown in a couple bouncers. It looks like they might be called as Pages has been expecting them, but just too much on them to really keep them under control. And now Cone sets the 1-2 and fires. Cut on and sent foul behind home. Count remains 1-2.
Well, I don't think the bounce balls on the wild pitch were obviously called by Pages. That one getting way away from him in the previous at-bat, but with 2 strikes, it's definitely plausible. You're trying to get a guy to chase, especially at your breaking stuff, which Cone gave his best stuff at, but just couldn't entice the hitter.
The 1-2. Cut on, chopped high in the air down the first base line. Griffin Day, the first baseman, looks up at it, calls everyone off, closes his glove on the ball, and makes the play for out number 2. A huge out for Zach Cone, as now he's just 3 strikes or anything on the ground away from getting out of a tough inning. But no small task. He's up again against Andrew Vaughn, Pac-12 Player of the Year. And he swings a big stick from that right-hand side of the plate. A runner on first, 2 down. Cone to the set. The righty moves to the plate. And it's a ball high in sight. 1-0 now the count, with the fastball missing the zone completely. Cone to the set. The Chippewa sets and fires. Misses with the breaking ball low and inside. 2-0 the count.
Cone giving a little head shake after that one. He thought he dropped that breaking ball right at the bottom of the zone, but home plate umpire said no, sir. And Andrew Vaughn in a 2-0 count.
A 402 hitter at Cal this year as the 2-0 is cut on and golfed high in the air down the first base line. Griffin Day, the first baseman, tries to make an over-the-shoulder catch, but the ball goes off of his glove and just dribbles out. And that's the first strike to Vaughn, but you don't want to give a hitter like that a second life, and that's exactly what the Harbor Hawks just did.
Especially with a man on. Vaughn, of course, striking out twice so far today, but that trend unlikely to continue, as this might be the best hitter in the Cape Cod League, period.
Definitely the best hitter in the Pac-12 this year. Now the 2-1 from Cone with a runner on first. cut on and clipped foul behind home. Brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Vaughn a strike away from the Golden Sombrero. Cone a strike away from bringing the Harbor Hawks out of another tough inning. The big inning has hurt the Harbor Hawks throughout this season, and it's hurt them again. They gave up a 4 spot in the bottom of the first. They've given up 2 here as they trail now 6-0 in the bottom of the fourth with a 2-strike count on Vaughn. Here's the pitch. Cut on and cut into the gap on the right side of the infield for a base hit. Andrew Vaughn stops at first, and Edens goes all the way around from first to third, where he is held up by Mike Mobbs, the third base coach for the Gatemen. And there are runners on the corners with 2 down for the Harbor Hawks here, or for the Gatemen, excuse me, here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Harbor Hawks in a good deal of trouble with Lyle Lockhart coming to the plate.
And that at bat right there, that's what makes Andrew Vaughn so special. Of course, he has the power. He hit for the unbelievably high average, but he just executed a hit and run to the point on that 2-strike count.
And the pitch. Called strike to Lockhart. Yet to record an official plate appearance on the day. 2 walks.
Quickly going back to the hit and run, Idens took off immediately. It dragged Taylor Garris over toward the bag at second to cover, and Andrew Vaughn putting it on the ground to the right side just by Garris into right field for a base hit.
And the 0-2 is hacked on and sent foul behind home. 0-2 the count. And again, Cone, he's to the brink of getting out of this inning, but it hasn't been that easy for him as he's let a couple of 2-strike pitches get away from him, and it's cost the Hawks dearly. Runners on the corners. 0-2 count, 2 down in the bottom of the 4th. Cone to the set. The righty deals to the lefty at the plate. Ball 1 high and tight. That one at his eyes. The left fielder for the Gatemen stands in once again. Runners on the corners. The 1-2. Another pitch coming inside, a little bit lower that one time, but definitely not over the plate. Breaking pitch evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes as our reliever continues to get loose in the bullpen for Hyannis. The 2-2. Cut on and hit in on the hands down the left field line. Todd Lott, the left fielder, runs over, makes the catch by the line, and continues his stride into the Harbor Hawks dugout as Hyannis seeds 2 more runs here in the bottom of the 4th inning, but is able to get out without letting it get completely away from them. A trio of hits, 2 runs across the plate, 1 man left on base, and now we head into the top of the 5th inning. Seth Gray, Pedro Pages, and Todd Lott due up when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's Voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein.
Top of the 5th inning for the Harbor Hawks. Seth Gray, Pedro Pages, and Todd Lott due up for Hyannis. Gray stands at the left-hand side of the plate. And Connor Lund still dealing for the Wareham Gatemen. He deals a first pitch ball, however. The righty to the lefty out of right state. 1-0 the count. 4 scoreless for the USC Trojan going into his junior year. The 1-0. Cut on and roped into right center field for a base hit. Seth Gray turns around second base. The right fielder Clementi charges into the gap, relays the ball in, and holds Seth Gray to a leadoff single to start things here in the top of the 5th.
Second hit on the night for Seth Gray, wasting no time in that at bat, taking a fastball from Lund, and that was drilled into right center field. I thought it might have had a chance to roll into the gap for two, but the outfield here at Spillane Field taking that baseball a little bit slowly. It died in the outfield there, so Gray had to hold it first. But Harbor Hawks runner on first, nobody out. They get the first man aboard.
Pedro Pages now at the right-hand side of the plate. Cuts the first pitch he sees, sends it foul down the first base line, out of play. 0-1 the count on the junior out of FAU. The hit for Seth Gray brings him to 2 for 2 on the day with a pair of singles. Pedro Pages still looking for his first hit of the evening. Grounded into a 3-6-3 double play in the top of the second. Here's the 0-1. Cut on and chopped foul behind home. Now 0-2 on the junior from Florida Atlantic. Lists fishing as a hobby, but mentioned that he's not really used to saltwater fishing that you do out here on the Cape, as down in Florida does a lot of freshwater fishing at the ponds near his house, just outside of Miami. One to the set. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He was fishing for that one, and he swings around it. Can't get any bat on it, and that is strike 3. One away here in the top of the 5th. Now here comes Todd Lott.
Lund just continuing to overpower these hitters with his fastball. His 6th punch out of the night. Pedro Pages giving a weak wave at that one. And one out here in the 5th for Hyannis.
Todd Lott stepping up to the right-hand side of the plate. Tonight's left fielder 0 for 1 with a looking strikeout. Comes to the plate with a runner on first. Hyannis down 6-0. And he takes a first pitch ball on the breaking offering. 0-1 on the pitch, just inside and a little bit low. 1-0, excuse me. Top of the 5th, Hyannis trails 6-0 against the Gatemen as Lund comes to the set and fires. And the pitch is cut on and golfed foul down the left field line. Todd Lott showing off some of that power. Hit a home run against the Katuitt Kettleers earlier this season. Has flashed a good deal of power for the Harbor Hawks and has a size where it wouldn't really surprise you. 6'4", 220 pounds. Former draft pick as well, taken in the 20th round in the 2016 MLB draft by the Cincinnati Reds. And the 1-1 is hacked on and missed for strike 2. He almost buckled at that one as well. Off-speed pitch from Lund, freezing him up. Seth Gray stands on first base. He led off this inning with a single. Top of the 5th. Hyannis trying to scrape together some life on offense, down 6-0. Here's the 1-2. Cut on and chopped foul. That one going straight down the first base line, out of play. Evokes a fresh ball from the home plate umpire, who gives it to Admitas, who throws it right back to Lund, who, for a guy who really only did short relief for the Trojans this year, has really excelled as a starter tonight. Here's the 1-2. Cut on and another one sent high and foul down the right field line. Lott fighting in this 2-strike count. Working Lund, who might be nearing the end of his night. Pitched 4 innings in his first Cape League appearance. It was a long relief appearance. He was able to pick up the win, but he's already 4 1/3 into this one, and his pitch count is getting up there. The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The off-speed offering completely fooling Todd Lott, and there's 2 away in the top of the 5th.
And that one, a high fastball right at the eye level. So many of these hitters, especially guys with power, their eyes will light up when they see a high fastball. But Lott swinging right through that one, his 2nd strikeout of the night. First one swinging, make that. And it brings up Griffin Day, who's still looking to get the wheels going on this Cape League summer.
Griffin Day at the right-hand side of the plate. Just looks at a first pitch strike over the outer half of the plate. Another off-speed offering, 0-1 the count. Runner on first base is Seth Gray. Led this inning off with a single, but that was followed up by 2 strikeouts. And here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2, a fastball low and away. Same spot, 2 different pitches, and both fool Griffin Day. He's a strike away from ending this inning for the Harbor Hawks, who trail 6-0 here in the top of the 5th. Infield at double play depth, the first baseman Vaughn holding on the runner Gray, the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Another fastball over the outer half at knee level. And that sends Griffin Day down swinging for the second time of the game. Brings him down to 0-2 and brings the Harbor Hawks into the bottom of the 5th inning. And they'll face the heart of the Wareham Gateman order when we get back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Welcome back as we have some around the league scores. 2 games are already over as Chatham beat Brewster 7-0 and Katuah beat Orleans 5-4. In the bottom of the 7th, Bourne is currently leading Harwich 4-2, and the YD Red Sox are currently leading the Falmouth Commodores in the bottom of the 7th. We'll send it now to the man play-by-play for today, Lyle Goldstein.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. We're back here in the bottom half of the 5th inning here at Spillane Field. Pitching change on hand for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Left-hander Wes Engel out of Texas State toes the slab to start things off for the Harbor Hawks here. He's set to face Austin Shenton, Drew Millis, and Ryan Kreidler in the bottom half of the 5th. Engel getting loose here on the field. So far this season, he's thrown 4 innings, appeared in 2 games, only allowed a hit, no runs, 1 walk, and has punched out 4. He's one of 5 Harbor Hawks with an ERA of 0. Wes Engel, a guy who's on a temp contract here to start things off, but has been very effective here in the early going. Good fastball, also mixes in some breaking stuff. He appeared in Game 1 against the Falmouth Commodores. That's when he made his Cape Cod Baseball League debut. And looking to keep the score where it is here. Gateman up 6-0 as Austin Shenton steps into the left-handed side of the batter's box.
And, of course, with Engel stepping up to the mound, that's all for Zach Cohn today. 3 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks on his final line as well.
Engel gets his sign from Pages. The left-hander delivers a swing and a foul up and out of play.
And again, Cohn coming up in a big spot for the Harbor Hawks. They needed someone to eat up innings after Mike Mockma had to leave this game after only 2/3 of an inning pitched, and also Coach Gassman getting tossed. Cohn really helped calm things down out here at Spillane Field.
Wes Engel from the windup, the pitch. Fastball grounded out to the second baseman, Garris, under his glove and into right field. An E4 will be recorded as Shenton reaches base for the second time tonight. Catches a break to start off the bottom of the 5th. And that'll bring up the designated hitter in Drew Millis out of Missouri State.
Nobody's perfect, and not a lot of the Harbor Hawks, I'll venture, maybe none of them, have ever played on an infield like this with those gray rocks. The ball really dies out when it hits that, and Garris let one go right through the wickets, a play that he normally makes and one he has to make.
Engel now from the set, the left-hander staring down the runner at first, and Shenton throws over, but back to the bag safely, is Austin Shenton. You mentioned it earlier on the broadcast, Chris. This gravel here on the infield at Spillane Field, nothing like these players have really ever played in front of before, and it'll take some weird hops on you, especially with the pebbles out there. Often it'll take one at a wrong angle and it'll just skip right by you. A ball down low to the hitter in Millis. Want to know the count, a fairly quiet night here at Spillane Field in Wareham. The seats are about a third full here around the first base side. Not a lot of spectators out in the outfield as there is a large set of outfield bleachers. There's a swing and a drive from Millis into left field. Coming over is Todd Lott, dives and makes the catch, going off to his backhand side. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Todd Lott tracking down a sinking line drive off the bat of Millis.
And Shenton thought that was a hit for sure. He started cruising off of first base, had to come all the way back. If he'd maybe given Todd Lott a little bit more credit and tagged up, he definitely would have been able to make it over to second, but still having to track all the way back over to first and touch up would have been way too much for him, especially on Todd Lott's arm.
So Ryan Kreidler steps in, already with 2 hits today, 3 RBIs all coming from that double. Also scored a run. Engel stares down Shenton. First pitch, breaking ball into Kreidler for a strike. 0-1 the count. Kreidler, for a guy who struggled in his sophomore season at UCLA, hitting just .222 on the year, off to a hot start here in the Cape Cod League. Has yet to be retired, sporting that 1,000 batting average as he takes a fastball in the dirt. Of course, hasn't recorded a whole ton of plate appearances up to this point. But his first summer out on the Cape here in Wareham. Last summer, he played for the Mankato Moondogs of the Northwoods League. He hit .256 with 21 RBIs. Engel delivers another breaking ball, swinging a foul up and out of play on the first base side. Sun almost completely set here in Wareham. Lights fully on at Spillane Field. There's a runner on first with 1 out. Gateman leads 6-0 here in the 5th. Engel nods, getting the sign from the catcher Pedro Pages. Kicks and fires the 1-2. Fastball high. Couldn't entice Kreidler, and the count evens.
Well, Wes Engel has been hitting the strike zone with some frequency for the Harbor Hawks, which is a breath of fresh air after all those shells did come up in a big spot for Hyannis. Really let his control get away from him in the previous frame and belabored that inning, to say the least.
Engel checks the runner, the 2-2. Another fastball upstairs. Kreidler doesn't go. And the count now full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with just 1 man down. Kreidler halfway to the cycle here tonight, knocking out the easiest 2 of the 4 in a double and a single. Engel sets at the belt, delivers the 3-2. Runner takes off, a swing and a line drive into center field for a base hit. Coming around second, heading into third is Drew Millis. Kreidler takes a hard turn at first, now back to the bag. And just like that, the Gatemen have runners on the corners, 1 out. Ryan Kreidler records his 3rd hit of the night.
And another hit and run, like you mentioned, Lyle, executed beautifully by the Gatemen. You saw it in the previous inning as Andrew Vaughn was able to just get that hit and run working and bring Idens all the way over to third base from first. And there it goes again for the Gatemen and setting them up quite well.
The first pitch to the hitter and Michael Amdidis. Breaking ball just inside for a ball. The runner, Austin Shenton, 90 feet away from making it run number 7 for the Gatemen tonight. He's on at third with Kreidler on at first. Engel checks on Kreidler, now comes home. Fastball in there for a strike. Wes Engel in his season at Texas State, through 39 2/3 innings, had an ERA just under 5, a 1-3 record. He kicks and fires the 1-1. Swing, line drive over the glove of Taylor Garris at second base into right center field. Cruising home, Austin Shenton. Kreidler advances 90 feet to second base, and the Wareham Gatemen make it 7-0 in the bottom of the 5th.
Great piece right there from Amdidis, just trying to get at bats after being injury plagued, to say the least, in his previous 2 seasons at the University of Miami. You come out to the Cape and certainly getting those and making the most of them as well, with a nice piece to drive in a run and put this thing way out of reach. 7-0 as it stands right now in favor of the Gatemen.
Engels worked himself into some trouble in the 5th. He's got 2 on with 1 out. The first pitch to the number 9 hitter and Dominic Clementi is a called strike on a breaking ball. Ryan Kreidler stands at second. He's got 3 hits tonight. He alone has out-hit the Harbor Hawks up to this point. Hyannis has had just 2 hits to their name, both off the bat of Seth Gray. West checks the runner at second base, now steps off the mound, no throw. Holding that baseball behind his back. Leaning in towards home plate, getting the sign from Pages. He now sets at the belt. Checks Kreidler at second, kicks and fires from the set. Breaking ball up high. Count moves to 1 ball and a strike.
Texas State is a school that doesn't really send a lot of kids out to the Cape, so many people were surprised to see a temp contract come out of there, but Wes Engel had some serious looks out of high school. He had an offer from Vanderbilt, which is a farm for pitchers,
but opted to stay in the state of Texas and attend Texas State as he drops a breaking ball right at the knees to Clemente for strike 2. And Dominic Clemente, for a guy who hit .368 at Michigan this year, which led the team, 0 for 15 to start this Cape Cod League summer. He's got 1 RBI to his name, yet to record a base hit for the Wareham Gatemen. He's got an RBI opportunity at hand with 2 on and 1 out as he watches a breaking ball go by, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Wes Engel looking for his first punch out of the night. The lone out recorded was a drilled line drive out to left by Drew Millis that Todd Lott tracked down, left his feet for, and made a diving grab off the backhand side. Engel now delivers the 2-2, swinging a foul on a breaking ball up and out of play. Pedro Pages out to the mound to have a quick word with Engel.
I mean, it's kudos to the Gateman hitters at this point. They have really worked Hyannis pitchers, forcing multiple 3-2 counts in each of the previous 2 innings. And then once they finally get their pitch close enough to the strike zone, they go right for it. And that's how you become the hottest team on the Cape. That's how you score 12 points in only your first 8 games of play. You're just able to make the most of some pitchers that you're tiring out.
Engel steps off and walks towards second, back safely as Kreidler with no throw. But so many of these Gateman hitters sporting high averages in the early going as they did in their collegiate seasons. Dominic Clemente, no exception. As the lefty in Engel kicks and fires to the lefty hitter in Clemente, fastball low. Count now full for the second time in as many hitters, 3-2 the count. Stepping out of the box quickly as Clemente resets himself.
You might see a little something funny here on a 3-2, as Coach Polk has plenty of bunt defenses in play for the Harbor Hawks on full and 2 strike counts even.
The 3-2 from Wes Engel, swinging a slow chopper to the third baseman, Gray. Fields it cleanly, throws to first, and he's out there. Couldn't entice a double play as the runner in Clemente thrown out at first. The Hyannis defense wasn't playing the bunt crisp, but that ground ball to the left side from Dominic Clemente basically did the same job, as Seth Gray couldn't get the force out at second with the speedy Michael Amditas hustling down the line. Had a quick turn there, but went over to first and got the 1 out.
Well, the Harbor Hawks defense usually tries to play on the runners using their eyes, and Engel was looking back at second trying to stop people from getting good jumps.
First pitch fastball to Jeremy Idens. Ball inside.
Regardless, the Wareham Gateman runners not really biting at any of the fakes that the Harbor Hawks were throwing down, so they were able to both get great jumps and advance easily.
With runners on second and third, Wes Engel goes back into the windup, wheels and fires the next pitch. Foul ball out of play. That one just over the first base dugout of the Wareham Gateman. But Jeremy Idens, a guy who missed a lot of time in his freshman year, missed a couple weeks this season, but regardless, sported a high average at UCLA, hitting .350 for the year as he takes a ball down low. We've seen that with a couple of these Gateman hitters, as the catcher in Amditas, who stands at second base, Missed a lot of time at Miami in his freshman year. A broken leg ended his season, and then a bone bruise in his wrist kept him out for a month. But when he was healthy, he swung the bat very, very well, much to the same of Jeremy Idens, who sends a ground ball past the diving Davis Wenzel into left field for a base hit. 1 run scores. Amditas coming around from second. He scores. Back pick back to first by the pitcher, or the third baseman, Seth Gray, not in time, as Jeremy Idens records a 2-out, 2 RBI single, his third base knock of the night, and the Gatemen have blown it open in the 5th. They lead 9-0.
3 RBI for Idens as well, the former draft pick of the St. Louis Cardinals in 2016. He is somebody who, much like Amditas, has pro potential. A lot of these guys all have pro potential, and injuries will get in the way, but regardless, if you can just get the at-bats you need to show what you have, scouts will take notice and they'll sign you from anywhere.
Oliver Dunn takes a ball on a fastball on the previous pitch from Engel, who now sits at 1-0. Idens a short lead off of first, being held on by Griffin Day. Pitch from Engel, a fastball, swing and a miss for a strike. Dunn so far today, not recorded a hit. Popped out twice, once into center field, the other to first base. It's also grounded out to Seth Gray at third. The 1-1 offering from Engel. Curveball down low. 2 balls and a strike, the count to Oliver Dunn, who was a catalyst at the top of the lineup for the Utes this season. 319, 66 hits. Him and Deshaun Kiersey, that 1-2 punch up in Utah. Well, they didn't have a very successful year as that fastball gets away from Pedro Page's high. Having to duck out of the way is Dunn. Moving down to second, Jeremy Idens. Oliver Dunn hitting in that 2 spot. Utah didn't win a whole lot of games, like I mentioned, but him and Kiersey provided some pop at the top of that lineup. But the Utah Utes had some real problems in the bullpen. Starters didn't hold up as well as they should have, and they finished dead last in the Pac-12. But Oliver Dunn finds his way in Wareham, travels out to the Cape, and thus far hitting just a $136, but looking to turn things around as he sends a high pop-up into short left field. Going back is Davis Wenzel. Todd Locke calling him off, coming in, makes the catch on the run for out number 3, and that'll do it for the Gatemen in the 5th, but not before they plate another trio of runs and lead 9-0. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein.
We're back here at Spillane Field, a beautiful sunset out in the distance for the top of the 6th. The story for the Harbor Hawks here tonight, not as beautiful, trailing 9-0 through 5 as Connor Lund's day is done for the Gatemen after 5 innings pitched, and the new arm on the mound will be right-hander Cody Carroll out of Southern Mississippi.
Yep. playing out in the CUSA. He had a 2.23 ERA in 17 appearances, a stellar season, 36 1/3 innings pitched, 35 strikeouts, only walked 15. Baseball runs in the family. His dad, David, played baseball at Tallahassee Community College and the University of New Orleans as well. So somebody who is very familiar with the higher levels of baseball and is out on the Cape to build on a family legacy that already has exceeded that of many who try to pick up a baseball.
So Cody Carroll set to go. As we mentioned, the night of Connor Lunn is done. He lasted 5 innings, gave up just 2 hits, both of them coming on singles to Seth Gray. No runs, no walks, and punched out 8 hitters.
Connor Lunn really making his money on the bump as a starter this year. He's gone 4 innings in one outing, 5 in the next, and that's after only being a closer at USC.
Carroll from the windup. First pitch to Colin Hall, who leads things off for the Harbor Hawks as he takes a ball down low.
Perceptions change on the Cape, Lyle, as you know.
He'll be followed by Taylor Garris and Davis Wenzel as the Hawks will shortly turn over their lineup. As Hall takes another fastball in the dirt. 2-0 the count. But you mentioned it, if guys thrive out on the Cape after spending a lot of time in their previous season as a reliever, they'll often be looked at as their head coach and turned into a starter the next year, as Connor Lunn has made just 1 start through his first 2 seasons at USC. That could be subject to change after this summer, as Hall sends a hard ground ball to the second baseman Dunn, who fields it, takes a hop, and throws to first for out number 1.
It happened with Nick Sandlin last year. The left-handed sidewinder for the Harbor Hawks came out and starred in long relief for Hyannis after only being a reliever/closer at Southern Mississippi. He comes back as a starter this year, goes 11-0, and is a semifinalist for the Golden Spikes Award, Lyle. It can all change in the summer.
Sandlin also a high draft pick this year as Taylor Garris takes a first pitch off speed and a called strike by the home plate umpire.
4th round.
Garris 0 for 1 so far today, struck out swinging in the 3rd against Connor Lunn. His first time seeing Carroll as he takes a breaking ball on the outside corner, quickly behind, no balls and 2 strikes.
That's another thing that the Cape can do for you. It can get you some great professional looks, especially when later in the summer the stands fill up with scouts.
The windup, the 0-2 to Garris, a fastball swinging a foul back behind the screen. Garris hit just .257 in his sophomore year at Stanford, had 11 extra base hits, although he played and started in all but 1 game in 2018. He looks in at Carroll, who fires a breaking ball in 0-2, low and away for ball 1. One and 2 the count to Garris, who's looking to become the first man not named Seth Gray to record a hit for the Harbor Hawks tonight. As Carroll fires a 1-2, off speed just off the zone, and the count evens. Davis Wenzel awaiting on deck. He's 0 for 2 so far today. Was culprit of one of the 8 punch-outs from Connor Lunn. As Carroll ready with the next offering. Down low on a fastball. Taylor Garris now works himself into a full count. 1 out. Gateman lead 9-0 in the top of the 6th. Infield playing back and straight up as the windup in the 3-2 from Carroll. Off speed and off the plate for ball 4. Taylor Garris draws a 1-out walk, and he's on as the Harbor Hawks send up their leadoff hitter, Davis Wenzel, for the 3rd time tonight.
The shortstop, number 8, Davis Wenzel from Baylor.
Well, a good sign right there from Garris as he comes to the Cape looking to work on his batter's eye. 15 walks for Samford this year, dwarfed by 35 strikeouts.
Really worked a nice count there, not biting into the pitches of the reliever in Carroll. A couple off-speed pitches were just off the plate, but Garris did a good job holding up, not chasing anything away from the zone as Carroll looked him back to the bag, but now back on the mound and ready. First pitch to Wenzel, down low again, chested up by the catcher in Amditis. That was the first walk issued by the Gatemen tonight. Connor Lund didn't allow a single man via free pass in his 5 innings. This is the 3rd player to reach base for Hyannis. Davis Wenzel takes a strike on a fastball. 1-1 the count. Wenzel's a guy who's played some shortstop and third, also played some second base at Baylor. Has made himself versatile around the infield. Also hit over 300 this season. Called strike on another heater.
He's recorded a hit in each of his last 2 games out here on the Cape as well, and in danger of losing an early season hit streak.
He's behind in the count, 1-2. Cody Carroll from the set. Delivers a breaking ball away, 2-2 the count. Garris now extending that lead at first, being held on by Andrew Vaughn. As the pitch to the right-hander in Davis Wenzel. Down low again in the dirt. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cody Carroll, a guy who coming in for the first time here tonight, not having what you'd call pinpoint command in the early going, already walked Garris. Now in another full count, this time to Wenzel. He fires the 3-2, swinging a foul off the mask of the catcher, Amdidis. And he stays alive here in this at-bat.
Well, control or no control, Carroll can rest easy knowing he has a massive cushion behind him.
The next 3-2 offering to Wenzel. Inside for ball 4. Checks his swing. First base umpire says he doesn't go around. Back-to-back walks for the Harbor Hawks in the 6th. 2 on with 1 out for the number 2 hitter and Trevor Hover.
He's looking for his first hit of the day, an 0-for-2 spot, and Davis Wenzel working that walk. He's infamous for getting off the slow starts at Baylor, but in the Cape League season coming into this game, batting .294 to get things cracking in his first 5 games in the league this summer.
Trevor Hover, a freshman who got off to a hot start at ASU as he takes a ball down low. Was off to a hot start in the Cape this summer. I should say he is off to a hot start. Came into the game hitting over 300, but is 0-for-2 so far tonight with 2 groundouts, both to short and second. Have dropped his average to .286. And now he's looking to become the first man other than Gray to record a hit. 4 base runners in total have reached for Hyannis. 2 via the walk and 2 via the single. The left-handed hitter in Hover staring down the righty Cody Carroll, who fires a fastball, swinging a foul out of play.
The rebound on that foul coming towards our broadcast booth.
As we're in an unorthodox position here at Spillane Field, down the third base line and on top of the dugout. Carroll checks the runner at second. Now comes home to Hover, who sends a ground ball to the second baseman, Dunn, over to short for 1. Relay to first in time for a double play. Score that 4-6-3 as the Gatemen escape another jam, this time in the 6th. And they put another 0 up on the board to keep it 9-0. We'll be back right after this here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
Back inside Spillane Field for the bottom half of the 6th inning. Wareham Gatemen lead 9-0. As a pinch hitter for Andrew Vaughn comes in, first baseman Parker Phillips out of Austin Peay State University. As Wes Engel sets from the windup, wheels and fires the first pitch, called strike on a fastball. Andrew Vaughn finishes his night at 1 for 3. He struck out twice. Now that is a rare commodity for the right-handed hitter out of Cal, as Phillips sends a high pop up into short right field. Colin Hall moving off to his left, makes the catch for out number 1. But Andrew Vaughn punched out twice tonight, both times. Make that one against Zach Cohn, once against Mike Mockma. But in his season at Cal, this season as a sophomore, he struck out twice in a game just once all season. He had 18 strikeouts compared to 44 walks. He is some type of hitter, not just an all-power, all-or-nothing type guy. He's disciplined, he works counts, and he sports a high average as well. As Engel delivers home for a first pitch strike to the hitter in Lyle Lockhart.
Well, Lyle, you mentioned it's for a lot of people when you're doing your prep out here for the Cape, it's worth mentioning when people are merely on the watch list for the Golden Spikes Award.
A called strike on a breaking ball now to the hitter in Lyle Lockhart. 0-2 the count.
Let alone to actually be a finalist for it like Vaughn. So he is really impressive, and good show from the Harbor Hawks pitchers, getting him down at least twice out of 3 times.
Wes Engel fires a fastball high and away for ball 1. I mentioned it earlier. Andrew Vaughn, arguably the best hitter out in the Cape this summer. Of course, he won't be staying here much longer as he makes his way off to Team USA in just a couple of days. But he has put on a show with the 4 home runs and 10 RBIs through the first week of the season as Engel puts a ball in the dirt. Couldn't entice the hitter in Lockhart, now 2-2.
The Wareham Gatemen losing many very talented players to Team USA this year, including Mason Fioli, who was outstanding for the Gatemen even last year.
Engel's 2-2 fastball misses upstairs again, works himself into a full count. Lyle Lockhart today, 0 for 1, has walked twice, scored once, and flied out to left field. Just 1 for 4 on this young season coming into today. 3-2 fastball misses high again for ball 4. Lockhart draws his 3rd walk of the night. On at first with 1 out for the number 5 hitter in Austin Shenton.
Third baseman, number 12, Austin Shenton from Florida International.
Shenton so far today, 1 hit to his name, 2 runs scored. Also reached on that Taylor Garris error in his last at bat in the 5th. Was 1 of 3 runs scored in that 3 spot put up by the Gatemen. As we encounter a lefty-lefty matchup as Engel comes home, misses inside with a fastball. Engel now taking his time, resetting a little bit. Gets a couple of words from the dugout from his pitching coach, Ray Korn. But back into the set. Checks the runner Lockhart at first. Fires from the set. The next pitch, a swing and a fly ball into deep left field. Backtracking is Todd Lott. Settles under it about 10 feet in front of the wall to make the catch for out number 2. Retreating back to first is Lockhart. And Wes Engel just an out away from putting up a 0 on the Gatemen for the first time since the 3rd inning.
315 feet out to dead left field. And around where Todd Lott comes in, it would probably extend maybe to 320 feet. So Wes Engel lucky he was able to get a fly ball that stayed within the grounds because it is as short as it gets at Spillane Field out to dead left.
Engel's first pitch to the new hitter and Drew Millis taken for a strike on a fastball. Millis was the culprit of that diving catch from Todd Lott in the 5th as he squared up a ball down the left field line, but Todd Todd Lott giving chase, coming over to it, making a beautiful diving catch. 2 outs with 1 on. The 0-1 pitch to Millis, breaking ball down low. Infield playing back with 2 outs. Outfield playing straight up. Todd Lott playing fairly deep and left, taking a couple steps in and off to his left a little bit. As the next pitch from West Angle, fastball down in the dirt. 2-0 the count to the hitter Millis. Drew this season at Missouri State hit .321 with 22 extra base hits, 68 in total. So far on this Cape League summer, hitting .231 as he sends a high chopper to short, fielded by Wenzel, goes short way to Garris at second for the 3rd out of the inning, and West Angle puts up a 0 for the Harbor Hawks. Gateman retired without scoring a run in the 6th inning, but still lead 9-0 here in Wareham. We'll be back right after this on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein.
The heart of the order due up for the Harbor Hawks in the top half of the 7th inning. In inning number 2 on the mound for reliever and Cody Carroll, set to face Eric Rivera, Seth Gray, and Pedro Pages. Cody Carroll from the windup. First pitch to the right-handed hitter Rivera, down in the dirt for ball 1. Rivera grounded out to short in the first and then lined out to second in the top of the 4th frame. Standing right at the back end of that right-handed batter's box, wiggling that bat above his right shoulder as he takes a fastball just low for a ball. 2-0 the count. Now Rivera has gotten off to a slow start in this Cape League summer. Went 0 for his first 12, recorded 2 hits in his final 2 at-bats in Game 1 of Sunday's doubleheader against the Whitecaps, including a walk-off single. As the 2-0 up coming to Rivera, a breaking ball in there. 2-1 the count. Has recorded just an additional hit since then. 3 for 20 on this young summer, looking to turn things around in a hurry. As Cody Carroll's 2-1 offering, a fastball right down central for strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to the center fielder Rivera. Infield playing back. Carroll from the windup, the 2-2 downstairs for ball 3. Misses away with an off speed and gets himself into another full count. Had 2 in the previous inning. Rivera in his first full count of the night. Carroll takes a deep breath, Kicks and fires the 3-2 pitch and swinging a high pop-up into foul ground but playable on the right side. Going back is the new first baseman Parker Phillips. He makes the catch for out number 1, and Rivera sat down for the 3rd time tonight. That brings up Seth Gray, the 3rd baseman out of Wright State. He's been the lone bright spot in the Hyannis lineup tonight. 2 for 2 on the night with 2 singles, but advanced no further either time, being stranded on first. His first time seeing the new reliever in Carroll. He sends the first pitch on a fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. Seth Gray hit .267 this season at Wright State. 37 RBIs, 54 total hits. A swing and a miss through that next pitch. Behind in the count, 0-2. Was way ahead of that pitch from the reliever in Carroll. Took something off of it. Dicing a changeup to the left-handed hitter in Gray. And he's now ready. The 0-2 pitch. Swinging a high chopper up the middle into center field for a base hit. 3rd single on the night for Seth Gray. Now 3 for 3 against the Wareham Gatemen. 1 on and 1 out here in the 7th. We've seen Seth Gray put a couple of balls on a high bounce at Spillane Field tonight. His first inning infield single was a high chopper over the glove of the pitcher in Lunn. Shortstop Ryan Kreidler couldn't make the play in time. Hit that one a little bit harder up the middle, also over the pitcher's mound, but the second baseman Oliver Dunn had no play on it as Pedro Pages takes his first pitch down in the dirt for ball 1. Hyannis still trailing 9-0 in the top of the 7th inning. They lost by a score of 10-4 last night against the Cotuit Cavaliers. Pages takes another strike. That was game 2 of 6 in the 2018 Patriot Cup. That series dead even at a game apiece. Harbor Hawks took game 1 at Lowell Park 4-1. Cotuit repaid the favor on the road as they took game 2. And Pages watches a breaking ball miss away. 2-1 the count to the Florida Atlantic catcher. As there's no hold on at first for Seth Gray with the Gatemen up 9-0. The infielders playing it at double play depth. Pages swings at that fastball and sends it foul out of play on the right side. Pages, another Harbor Hawk on the early summer struggle bus, hitting just 200. 4 hits to his name so far. Off-speed pitch from Carroll misses just above the letters. Into another full count, 3-2. Seth Gray with a short lead at first. Carroll from the set, the 3-2, swinging a ground ball through the right side for a base hit. Stopping at second base is Seth Gray, moving station to station. And Pedro Pages, the first man tonight, other than Seth Gray, to record a hit for the Harbor Hawks. Back-to-back singles for Hyannis as they have 2 on and 1 out for the left fielder in Todd Lott.
Left fielder number 29, Todd Lott from Louisiana Lafayette.
Lott, 2 strikeouts on the night. 1 looking in the second, another swinging in the 5th. The first pitch from Carroll is swing and a miss, cuts right through that fastball. The last punch out from Lott was the 7th strikeout of 8 from Gateman starter in Connor Lunn, who's diced 2 very successful outings in this early summer. 4 innings in his first start as Lott takes a strike on an off-speed pitch. And then an additional 5 tonight, along with 8 strikeouts, no walks, and just 2 hits. Gray idling at second. Pages getting a short lead off of first. The next pitch on the way from Cody Carroll, fastball down low. Todd Lott looking to pick up his first base hit of the night. Has 3 hits on the summer along with 2 RBIs. 1 long ball coming against the Cavaliers back last Friday at Lowell Park, hit that the opposite way. He sends a fastball foul behind home plate off the screen. Todd hitting just 158 on the young summer, but looking to drive in his third RBI of the season for the Harbor Hawks with a man on second as he swings and misses through an off-speed pitch, punches out for the third time tonight, and there's 2 outs for Hyannis in the top of the 7th. That brings up first baseman Griffin Day, another man who's the culprit of 2 strikeouts, both of them swinging. Was the final batter of the night for Connor Lunn. Cody Carroll's first pitch to Griffin Day brushes him off the plate on a fastball. 1-0 the count. Griffin has some immense power in his arsenal. Day in and day out, absolutely crushing balls in batting practice well beyond the confines of every respective field he's played at through the first week of the Cape League season as he swings and misses through a breaking ball as the count evens. He hit .306 with 10 home runs in his junior year at Yale. And looking to display some of that power here against the Wareham Gatemen. 9-0 still the score. And Day watches a breaking ball miss away. Count moves to 2-1. Outfield playing straight up. Shifted a little bit off the line as the right fielder Clementi as Day swings and misses hardly through another fastball. And the count goes back to even. 2s across the bottom of the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2 men on base. Harbor Hawks down 9-0. Carroll sets, kicks and fires, 2-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball to the shortstop. Kreidler fields it cleanly, goes short way to second, and the inning is over. Hyannis strands 2 men on base in the 7th. Another 0 up on the board for the Gatemen. We'll be back right after this here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Bottom half of the 7th set to get underway at Spillane Field. The day of Wes Engel is done after going 2 innings, giving up 3 runs on 3 hits, although none of them earned. walked 1, and struck out none. As Ryan Pepio, the new man on the hill for the Harbor Hawks, has appeared in 2 games this season, going 2 1/3 innings both times, as he's set to face the bottom third of the Gateman order, led off by shortstop Ryan Kreidler. He swings and misses through a first pitch fastball. Pepio went 2 1/3 innings on opening night against the Falmouth Commodores at McKeon Park, gave up 4 earned on 5 hits, and turned around on Sunday afternoon against Brewster, giving up 2 earned runs in 2 1/3 inning on 2 hits. As a pitch upstairs to Kreidler misses as the count evens. Ryan Pepio gets the sign from Pages. The windup in the 1-1 off speed, swing and a miss from Kreidler on a Pepio changeup. Now ahead of the count at 1-2. Kreidler with 2 singles and a 3 RBI double tonight. Pepio looking to sit him down for the first time this evening. Fires in a 1-2 fastball, jackknives him just inside for ball 2. Ryan Kreidler hitting just .222 in his sophomore year at UCLA, but off to a hot start in the Cape League this summer. Pepio misses downstairs with a fastball and finds himself in his first full count of the night. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gateman up 9-0 through 6.5 frames. Pepio now ready with the 3-2, a swing and a foul out of play and into the night.
Foul ball, courtesy of attorney Glenn Pennington and his daughter Tevin.
Kreidler steps out of the box for a minute, takes a lap around the circle, but now back into the right-handed side, sporting that wide batting stance at the plate. So he looks at a 3-2 fastball for strike 3 out of the right arm of Ryan Pepio, and he's punched out and sat down for the first time tonight. Pepio sees one batter, sits him right down, and he's got 1 out in the 7th. That'll bring up the catcher in Michael M. Dittis. He hails from the University of Miami. Tonight in the box score, he's 1 for 2. 2 runs scored, a single walk, and a strikeout swinging. He takes a strike from Pepio, another first pitch fastball. William Dittis hit just .225 with 18 hits in his redshirt freshman year down at the University of Miami as he sends a breaking ball foul down the third base side. He started the first 8 games behind the plate for the Hurricanes, but a bone bruise against Florida Atlantic forced him to miss a month of time and therefore derailed his season. When he came back, he was just never the same. Had just a .578 OPS on the year, as Pepio's 0-2 fastball is upstairs for a ball. But Michael M. Dittis on this young summer hitting .333. Pepio from the windup, the 1-2. Fastball got him right at the knees for strike 3. And Dittis sent down via the K for the second time tonight. And Pepio's got 2 outs quickly in the top of the 7th.
From Purdue.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Ryan Pepio as he's set to face Dominic Clementi. As he goes from the windup, the first pitch on the way. It's a breaking ball down low. Pepio gets a new ball from the home plate umpire, relayed to him by catcher Pedro Pages. As he continues to work from the windup, he kicks and fires the next offering. Fastball in there for a strike. Well, Clementi 0 for 3 on the day, still yet to record a hit in this Cape League summer. Ryan gets the sign from Pages. Clementi sends a swing and a foul down the left field line and out of play. Count moves to 1-2. 9-0 the score at Spillane Field in favor of the Wareham Gatemen. As Pepio looking to strike out the side in the top half of the 7th. He winds and fires the 1-2, misses away, count back to even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Infield playing back at 2-out depth. Is Pepio ready with the 2-2, swing and a miss, a weak tap back to the glove of Pedro Pages, and Ryan Pepio strikes out the side in the bottom of the 7th. Harbor Hawks coming up in the 8th, looking to put a couple of runs on the board and chip away at the Wareham Gateman lead. We'll be back after this on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voice of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein.
Back at Spillane Field for the top half of the 8th inning. The night of Cody Carroll is done after 2 innings pitched. New reliever is right-hander Tyler Kaiser out of the University of Miami, set to face Adam Elliott, the new pinch hitter in place of Colin Hall, be followed by Taylor Garris and Davis Wenzel.
Great night for Carroll. 2 innings pitched, only 2 hits.
First pitch from Kaiser is a fastball away to Adam Elliott for a ball.
Only 2 walks, struck out a batter, allowed no runs. And they've kept the Hyannis Harbor Hawks with a clean sheet tonight.
Elliott swings and misses through another outside fastball, this time for a strike. 1-1 the count. Elliott 1 for 7 on the summer. Also a crucial part of the Harbor Hawks bullpen. As another fastball from Kaiser misses away. 2-1 the count. Elliott sporting a 0 ERA from the mound and a 1.42 average at the plate. Watches another one go by off the zone. Kaiser working quickly from the set. The 3-1 pitch. In there for a strike right at the knees. Full count to Elliott, 3-2. Looking to reach base in this pinch hit appearance. As he swings and misses through a fastball for strike 3, and Kaiser has his first strikeout of the night.
As if pinch hitting wasn't a tough enough assignment as is, the junior out of Miami is an absolute buzzsaw to try and run into on the mound out there, and made quick work of Elliott.
Another pinch hitter up to the plate for Hyannis. Infielder Alec Trella out of Memphis, hitting in place of Taylor Garris. He was the shortstop in yesterday's game against the Kettleers as he takes a ball way in the dirt out in front of the plate for ball one.
Well, we saw something similar yesterday against the Kettleers after Hyannis was kind of out of it around the end of the game, sent a bunch of pinch hitters.
A swing and a miss through a fastball. Alec Trella waves right through that one. 1 ball and 1 strike. Trella, a power bat up the middle. As Kaiser's ready with the next offering, a fastball inside. The count now 2-1. Trella hit 7 home runs on the year, had 46 hits, 20 for extra bases, also walked 30 times. As he swings at that next pitch and shoots it foul behind home plate.
Not your typical shortstop. Guys like Cal Ripken paving the way for Trella to be larger and maybe sacrifice a bit of mobility for power. But regardless, Trella is still a very smooth middle infielder.
The next pitch from Kaiser checks his swing. And the umpire saying he foul tipped it into the catcher's glove for strike 3 right off the knob. Trella looking a little bit dazed and confused, exchanging a couple of words with the home plate umpire. And he walks back to the dugout visibly frustrated. But back-to-back strikeouts for the new Gateman reliever Tyler Kaiser, and he's set to face Davis Wenzel. His first pitch, swinging a foul up and out of play behind the home plate press box. Kaiser with a good fastball in this inning. Had Elliott fooled on a couple. He was way behind. Trella as well. Counters with a breaking ball to Wenzel. That gets in there for a strike. Quickly 0-2 the count. Wenzel behind. Walked back in the 6th and was stranded at first. Has yet to record a hit tonight. 0-2 from Kaiser. Swinging a foul. Another fastball.
That one going right, being fouled directly off the mask of the home plate umpire, who takes a second to himself just to rip off the mask, brush some dirt off of home plate. One of those tough ones, unwritten rule of baseball. Everyone understands. Home plate umpire takes one off the nose. He gets a little bit of time to relax as now the infield comes in around Kaiser just to buy a little bit more time for the home plate umpire to gather his senses, because he really got rocked by one right on the schnoz.
Now the Gateman trainers coming out to check on the home plate umpire, make sure he's okay. But with the heat that Kaiser's pumping from the right side of the mound, Wenzel getting a piece of that one, that had to go off the umpire's mask, and pretty hard too.
Wenzel shooting an apologetic look up to the broadcast booth in between breaths up here. I didn't mean to do it. Well, regardless, he's got to fight off an 0-2 count now.
Kaiser ready with the next 0-2. Swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch for strike 3. The Miami product, Tyler Kaiser, strikes out the side in the top half of the 8th inning, and Hyannis goes down in order. We'll be back right after this for the bottom of the 8th. You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
Back in the bottom of the 8th at Spillane Field, Ryan Pepio's day is done after an inning of work, striking out the side, facing the minimum. And infielder Braden Como out of Rice set to make a relief appearance in the bottom of the 8th. He throws a first pitch strike to Jeremy Hyannis. And you look down the left field line, you see the entire bullpen standing up and clapping for Como. You always support a position player coming in, as he counters with an off-speed pitch, taken for strike 2, right at the knees.
Our intrepid sideline reporter, Danny Terzer, came up with a little something, spoke to Como in the dugout before he went out there.
And now the 0-2. High pop-up on the right side. Griffin Day giving a look, but it gets out of play. Iden stays alive against Braden Como, who played in last night's game, had 2 hits and RBI, also made a couple of ballet-esque type catches, going out off to his left, making one over the shoulder in the later innings. And staying versatile, now doing it on the mound, delivers a fastball that Iden fights off and sends foul.
Well, Como, as Danny was able to find out in the dugout, hasn't pitched in 6 years, but is visibly ecstatic to be out there and giving this a shot.
He goes from the windup. The 0-2 swinging a ground ball to the shortstop, Davis Wenzel. Fields it cleanly, throws on a crow hop for out number 1. Idens is sat down, and the bullpen giving Como a nice golf clap out from left field, as he's got 1 out in the 8th.
Well, they should be giving him a clap. The Harbor Hawks have had to use 4 pitchers in this game alone to get through things, and the Harbor Hawks definitely need a break, and Como decided to just be the man and take the fall for the Harbor Hawks, but have fun with it regardless. He's coming in for Ryan Pepio, who only faced 3 batters, pitched an inning, no walks, no hits, no runs, no strikeouts. And Como plays his cards right. Might have the same here in the top of the 8th. He's already a third of the way through. Bottom of the 8th, excuse me.
He's set to face a pinch hitter for the Wareham Gatemen. The first pitch is in for a ball. 1-0 the count to the new hitter. Como counters. The 1-0 chop foul down the left field line. On the roster we were given, the hitter is a right-handed bat, sports number 26. There's no name to be appeared. We'll get that to you as soon as we possibly can, as Como's 1-1 fastball misses away. It looks as if on the Gateman roster, it's Cade Cavalli, the 6'5" right-handed bat, as he swings and misses through a fastball. Although it says he is listed as a pitcher on the roster, so getting a pinch hit here in the bottom of the 8th with the Gatemen up 9-0. So the infielder in Como on the mound, the pitcher in Cavalli at the plate, as Braden spikes a fastball in the dirt.
Well, believe it or not, Lyle, he actually is a two-way player down at Oklahoma. 55 games in the field, and he batted .208, 38 hits, and 183 at-bats.
Como's next offering is an off-speed looked at for strike 3. Cavalli's down on strikes, and now Como gets a loud cheer from the bullpen as opposed to a golf clap on the ground out. He's got 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th, retired the first 2 hitters he's seen.
They might have a riot out there in the the bullpen if he's able to get us another strikeout here, as they are loving this moment.
First pitch to Parker Phillips, taken down low for a ball. Phillips out of Austin P. came in for Andrew Vaughn. Back in the 6th, he flew out to right field. He sends a high, towering fly ball out to deep left center field. Eric Rivera calling it off in the gap and makes the catch. And would you look at that? Braden Como, the infielder out of Rice, hasn't pitched in over 5 years, induces a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the 8th. And the Harbor Hawks put up a 0 on the board on the Wareham Gatemen. We'll be back right after this for the 9th. You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein.
Ryan Stoudemire on the mound for the Wareham Gatemen, the right-hander out of Charleston Southern to start the top half of the ninth. He'll face the 2, 3, 4 in the order for Hyannis. The 2 spot was designated to Trevor Hover, but now being pinch hit by Clemson catcher Kyle Wilkie, who takes a breaking ball for a strike. The final line for the previous Gateman reliever in Tyler Kaiser, an inning pitch, faces the minimum, struck out all 3. Stoudemire spikes one in the dirt to Wilkie for a ball.
And he's out of Charleston Southern University going into his junior year this year. In his sophomore year, 18 appearances, 5 starts, 1-7 with a 6.69 ERA.
Wilkie swings and misses through a hanging breaking ball for strike 2. That one left up in the zone by Stoudemire. He hails from Pomeria, South Carolina. Also plays some first base, but on the mound, like Chris mentioned, an ERA just over 6 in 2018. As Wilkie sends one foul off the screen behind home plate.
He's a big boy, too, coming in at 6'3", 250 pounds.
Wilkie's made the last couple of starts behind the plate, but got the night off in favor of Pedro Pages as he sends a high looping fly ball down the right field line. Coming in is the right fielder Clementi and makes a sliding catch on the run for the first out of the ninth. Kyle Wilkie robbed of a base hit by Clementi, who struggled out there in right field so far tonight. And that'll bring up Eric Rivera. All right, we actually have a defensive change for the Gatemen. That's Jeremy Idens now in right field. He's shifted over from center. That was the UCLA product making the catch for the first out of the inning. As Eric Rivera set to face the right-hander in Stoudemire, takes a ball outside.
And you have to tip your cap to Idens fighting the lights to go down the line and make that grab.
Another fastball misses high and away to Rivera. Skylar Hunter, the Purdue product, out in center field. Stoudemire from the windup, shaking off a couple of signs from his catcher. Delivers to Rivera. Misses again, low and outside for ball 3. Eric, an 0 for 3 night, still just 3 hits on this young summer. But in a significant hitter's count at 3-0. Fastball down low for ball 4. Rivera draws a 4-pitch walk and is on with 1 out in the top of the ninth.
That's how you want to set the table for Seth Gray, considering the night that the infielder out of Wright State has been having.
3 for 3, all of them coming off base knocks, but is yet to move past second base on this young night. Takes a breaking ball for a strike on the outer half. As a matter of fact, no Harbor Hawk runner has made it past second base tonight. Score still remains 9-0 in the top of the ninth. They've stranded 5 men on base so far tonight. The 0-1 to Gray. Fastball on the outside corner for strike two. The Wright State third baseman quickly behind in the count.
Been a tough night for Hyannis, but post-game coverage upcoming after the final out is made. You can catch that right here on this very broadcast with Robert Marcello.
Seth Gray sends a high chopper to short, fielded by Kreidler, throws the second for one. The relay to first, not in time, getting past the glove of Parker Phillips. Seth Gray records a 6-4 fielder's choice, and that ball gets into the dugout. He'll be awarded second base. He jogs down an additional 90 feet, but there's 2 outs in the ninth. Harbor Hawks have a man on second, and Pedro Page is the man doing the work behind the plate tonight, set to make his 4th plate appearance this evening.
With a good chance to break the shutout as well for the Gatemen.
A single would do it. Gray with his speed at second and the outfield back would likely score on a single. Pages sends a low line drive out to short. Going back on it as Kreidler makes the catch, and that's the ball game. Harbor Hawks shut out this evening here at Spillane Field by a final score of 9-0. Chris, really kind of just a one-sided game on this one. Machma struggled in the first, was removed after 2/3 of an inning, and the Harbor Hawks just couldn't muster anything on offense tonight.
Absolutely not. And on the other hand, the Wareham Gatemen reminding the entire league that they are the hottest ball club either on or off the island, considering that Wareham is just off the island where the rest of the ball clubs play. Wareham now advancing to 7-2 on the season, a torrid 14 points in only 8 games played so far. They are absolutely tearing this league up, and they tore up the Harbor Hawks tonight, putting up a 9 spot with 3 massive innings, a 4 spot in the first, 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th, and then another 3 spot in the bottom of the 5th inning, completely putting this thing out of reach for the Harbor Hawks almost from the get-go.
The big inning continues to haunt Hyannis as they drop one on the road to the Wareham Gatemen, moving to 4-4 on the summer. Wareham picks up its 7th win of the year. They move to 7-2 on the year. And they sit atop of not just the West Division, but the entire Cape League. Harwich leading the East at a 5-3 record coming into the night, but the Gatemen in their offense continuing to show their explosiveness at the plate and dominance on the mound. That'll do it for us here tonight. Robert Marcello will have the postgame for you guys. We'll take a quick break and be right back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Welcome back. The final score in tonight's game was 9-0 Wareham. I'm here with Lyle Goldstein. How are you, Lyle?
I'm doing all right, Rob. How about you?
Good. So one of the things I want to talk to you just quickly about the first inning, Mike Machma goes out being able to get the first out, and then after that, kind of blew up on him.
Yeah, it really did. Zach Cohn came into the game, tried to stop the bleeding, But the big blow in that first inning for the Wareham Gatemen was a 3 RBI double off the bat of Ryan Kreidler, who struggled in his sophomore year at UCLA, but off to a scorching hot start here on the Cape, or just off the Cape, if you will, being we are here in Wareham. Kreidler, 3 hits on the night, had 2 singles after that big 3 RBI double. But we talked about it in the pregame show. Commanding the strike zone and locating your pitches was going to be so huge tonight after a handful of walks in the previous game at home against Cotuit. And early on in that first inning, they just weren't able to do so. And the 3-run double, the big shot out to right center field, really haunted them for the rest of the ball game.
Now, also with the other pitchers, what do you think about their performances coming out of the pen today?
Is this for Wareham?
For Hyannis, all the other pitchers that came out as well.
Well, Zach Cohn went 3 1/3 innings, gave up 2 runs, settled down pretty nicely until that 4th inning of work when he kind of got knocked around a little bit. Wes Engel comes in, didn't give up an earned run, didn't seem like he had his best stuff on the night, wasn't commanding the zone as well as we've seen in his previous couple of outings. Ryan Pepio, of course, as good as you could ask of anything from him, and a scoreless inning, faces the minimum, strikes out all 3. How about Braden Como? Let's talk about that for a sec. Infielder who hasn't pitched in 5 years. He comes into the ball game with the Harbor Hawks playing 5 games in the next 4 days. Of course, that's how the Cape League schedule works. You have to be able to save arms and not overwork these guys. Como says, hey, I'll go out there and throw for an inning. Why not? And what does he do? He goes out and retires 1, 2, 3 in order, including a strikeout. That was pretty cool to see, especially on a night where the Hawks dropped the game 9-0. A lone bright spot for this team.
Definitely was a good bright spot. Maybe later in the season we'll be able to see him out on the mound. And hopefully the Rocks being up by a lot, him going in instead of them being down. Can you talk about, now this is the second game in a row where the bats really have gone silent. Can you kind of talk about that and how the Harbor Hawks need to improve?
Well, they just have to really capitalize on the opportunities they're given. Of course, they didn't leave 12 runners on base again tonight like they did in the Cotuit game last evening. But they had a couple of chances. They had a few innings with guys on base and less than 2 out, and they just couldn't muster up that clutch hit that they needed to plate a couple across. So the clutch hitting for the rest of the summer, for that matter, is going to be huge for them. We've seen it in the past. We saw it in both the doubleheaders against Brewster, but they're just going to have to find their rhythm back a little bit and go back at it again tomorrow where they'll head out to Chatham.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Lyle. We're now going to go on around the league scores. The final against Brewster is 7-0 Chatham. Cotuit beats Orleans 5-4. Bourne ends up beating in a nail-biter at home against Harwich. And the Whitey Red Sox win by 1 run, 1-0. That's going to do it all here on the postgame show. I'm Robert Marcello. Everyone have a good rest of the night.